Everybody's on it. Here to see your us.
I learned to get back.
This month.
It doesn't go well. We do citizen comments first. Do a few more. I think we got a few just with the traffic. I'm gonna pause for a few. We already started it.
But I can make it run.
Yeah. We'll give them a couple of minutes. We'll just let them figure it out. I know with the traffic.
Okay. Yeah, so with the traffic on.
Oh, yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. Okay, Paula, if you can go ahead and show us at 6:32. Meeting to order. I would like to go ahead and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're doing a little bit of modifications and a little bit extra time too. If a lot of you get in here and notice there's a little bit of traffic, there was an accident on I-35, so that meant a lot of stuff got diverted into town. So a little bit of extra stuff. So we just started a few minutes behind schedule, but it's all good. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to our great city secretary.
Yes, the roll call, Alderman Joseph Moore for District 1,
Present.
District 2, San Cortez,
Present.
District 3, David Emery,
I'm here.
District 4, Michael Rodriguez,
Here.
and District 5, Charles Smith, absent today.
Okay. Thank you so much for doing that. If everybody can please rise, join me for a pledge of allegiance. A pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you so much. I was waiting for that toot. There are Boy Scouts. I'm used to hearing that. So I was wrong with that. All right, I still want to ask, even though we haven't had anybody sign up, any citizens to be heard? Anybody that is going to speak that is not on the agenda or needing the council to know? All right, perfect. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 5, the presentation of proclamations, and we're going to take care of 8. And this is the recognition of Lido ISD girls cross country team. So come on up, and the coach and the coaches too. Come on up. our City Secretary Paola will go ahead and read the proclamation. So I'll turn it over to you.
Whereas the city of Vital, Texas is proud to honor the Vital High School Pirate Girls cross country team consisting of Claire Cook, Mariah Gomez, Isabel Guerrero, Marissa Lopez, Samantha Mujica, Desmarie Ortega, Francis Costello, and manager Rose Costello. Whereas the city of Vital, Texas acknowledges the great accomplishments under the leadership of coaches Gilbert Reese and Sebastian Benavides, especially for the girls team reaching the state competitions in the last 2 consecutive years. The first in Vital's history, where the city of Vital recognizes their accomplishments of winning first place in team competition in meets at Peace, Banera, Islanders, McNeil, and District 28-3A, winning second place in Forestville, Merida Valley, Regional 4-3A, winning third place at Pope, and winning bronze as state champion. Whereas the city of Vital recognizes seniors Mariah Gomez, Isabel Guerrero, Marissa Lopez, and Desmarie Ortega, all District 2021 and 2022, all Region 2022, and all State 2022 for Mariah, all District 2019 and 2020, and all Region for 2019 and 2021 for Isabel, all District 2020, 21, and 22, all Region 22, and all State 2022 for Marissa, and all District 2022 for Desmarie. The seniors are responsible for the team's accomplishments between 2029 and 2022. 3 district titles, 1 regional champion, 1 regional runner-up, as state recognition as 4th in 2021 and 3rd in 2022. Whereas the city of Vital recognizes junior Samantha Mujica for her accomplishments in all districts in 2021 and 2022. Whereas the city of Vital recognizes freshmen Claire Cook, Francis Costello for their accomplishments as both were all district in 2022. You want to read that thing?
Okay, so then it's over to me. Now therefore, I, as Bruno Gonzalez, by the virtue of the authority invested in me as the mayor of the city of Lytle, Texas, in recognition therefore do hereby proclaim that the city of Lytle, Texas feels this proclamation is in order to recognize the many accomplishments of the Lytle ISD girls cross country team. A witness whereof I hear unto my hand and seal the city of Lytle, Texas, the 28th day of November 2022 AD. Congrats. The opportunity. A lot of stuff that was actually said, but I know that there's a lot more behind that. A lot of sacrifices, a lot of things, right, Coach?
Oh, yeah.
That actually happened that we couldn't capture, the things that make a difference. And I can tell a story about every one of you. So you see the goosebumps? Again, because I've seen you, and I see you make a difference. And I saw you come back. You were hurt, and you pushed yourself through. And you did that because it was for the team. And I know you made a big difference. So we're really, really proud of all of you and everything that you've done. This is going to be tough, Coach, for next year. Woo, right? But I think they've been mentoring some other girls, right?
Yes.
Yes. So we're going to grab some others and bring them back. What was the really coolest part about being out there is just watching some of the previous students that came back and watched you guys compete at the state. And that just tells you how much of a family and the tightness that you actually have. And that's one of the important reasons why we didn't want to miss the opportunity. A small token of appreciation on behalf of all the council and the city of Lytle to be able to say congratulations and thank you for everything that you have done. And also be able to thank the coach, and I'll talk a little bit more about him with the boys. But Mrs. Smith, thank you so much for the opportunity and the partnership, allowing us to be part of this. It's very historic for this to happen. Only a few schools get a chance, both boys and girls. So this is history. You guys will be talking about it for years and years and years. But thank you for joining us. If it's okay, we're going to take some photos. We're going to look that way. And I'm going to move this a little bit this way. If I can squeeze in there. And council, if you can please stand right in the back right there. That'd be awesome. There we go.
Ready. Okay.
You got him? Okay. We're going to do something different. Okay. Parents, come on up. Come on up. We're going to get this moment. You guys are part of this too. So come on up. You want to be here? You want to be in the back? Whichever way you want. You can squeeze everybody in here. Wherever you want to be. Come on up. Don't miss the opportunity. You guys should just.
No, man.
Like I did, I spotted.
Okay, make sure you see everybody, camera, we're gonna look forward over there. Here we go.
1, 2, 3.
And stand by, we're gonna get one more photo back over there. Got Lion taking care of us, Lion News. Awesome, congrats again. Congrats. I'm proud of you. You guys are awesome. Congratulations. Congrats, congrats.
Thank you so much for the support.
No, the other way around. Okay, well, let's do it here. Let's okay. Come on up. Come on up. There you go. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing again.
I'm bad.
Okay, we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna pass these out and we'll go ahead and get started.
Whereas the city of Vital Creek is proud to honor the Vital High School Pirate Boys first country team consisting of Johnny Alvarez, Yandel Esquives, Lucas Stella, Christian Lopez, Brandon Ovando, Abel Sanchez, Robert Wagner. Whereas the city of Vital Creek acknowledges the great accomplishments under the leadership of Coach Gilbert Reese and Sebastian Benavides, especially at the first time in Vital High School's history that both boys and girls cross country teams made the state competitions the same year. Whereas the city of Vital recognizes their accomplishments of winning first place in team competitions at Newton Medina Valley, East Bandera, Islanders, McNeil, Pope, District 28 through 8, Region 4A, and State 3A, becoming 2022 Gold State champions. Whereas the Vital recognizes senior Robert Wagner for his accomplishments in 2019 and 2022, and having 4 district titles, 2 regional championships, 1 regional runner-up, and the state recognition for 4 straight years in individual bronze medal in 2021, along with being highlighted by the Express News and area runner. Whereas the city of Vital recognizes Junior Abel Sanchez and Brandon Obando for their accomplishments, all district 2021 for Abel and all district for 2021 and 22, and all region 2022 for Brandon. Whereas the city of Vital recognizes sophomore Johnny Alvarez, Lucas Stella, Kristen Lopez, and Yandel Esquives, all district 2022, all region 2022, and all state 2022 for Johnny, and all district 2022 for Lucas and Yandel.
First, thank you. How about a round of applause for our city? So now therefore I, Ruben Latas, by the virtue of authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Lytle, Texas, the recognition therefore do hereby proclaim that the city of Lytle, Texas feels this proclamation is in order to recognize the many accomplishments of the Lytle ISD boys cross-country team. When this whereof onto hit, set on my hand and seal the city of Lytle, Texas, this 28th day of November 2022. I tell you, you guys, you're unbelievable. And the coach let me know. I didn't realize this because I know I didn't make it to all the meets out there. But you guys were first in every meet this year. Every single, all the way to state. And you don't see that often. You know, you might see some flexibility, but they actually just stayed on top and just highlighted your commitment and what you were doing. I remember standing out there for state and I saw the last, I was like, is that the last one? And we were like, oh, this is good. Good timing. Everything was settled. And I remember seeing somebody right in the front. And I'm looking at him. I tell you what, he was like going, right, coach? It was just unbelievable. You know, one of the best things that we saw out there is seeing both coaches actually just smiling. I've never seen them smile so much like they did that day. Is that right? Those of you that were there, he was smiling. I mean, that was a proud moment, but it was just an unbelievable feat. You guys have highlighted the city of Lytle, have actually brought a lot. And Coach, you have been a huge part of that. Your dedication, both during the week, off week, I know you've been a great mentor towards them, and you really helped them grow, not only as an athlete, but as a young adult. And we can't thank you enough for everything that you guys have done to be able to make that possible. So congratulations again on behalf of all of us. There you go. There you go. I'll go right over there. Take one photo like this, and then we'll do another one. There you go. There you go. There you go. Perfect.
It was helping. You can get these young men to look up. They keep looking down at their shoes.
It's all good.
Smile.
There you go.
I got pretty smile. There you go.
Got him? All right. Okay, stay right there. Okay, parents, come on up. Here we go. You do have good shoes. I like those Okay, let's see, make sure that we can see everybody, nobody hiding, right in between. Make sure, don't hide.
Rachel.
See everybody. Good, dude. We got multiple, I'm gonna go this side. You got everybody? You gotta work it.
We can see everybody in the back.
Okay, ready? Here we go.
Yeah, but I'm only this.
1, 2, 3. There you go. That good? Better? All right, we got it. All right. I'm proud of There we go. It makes a difference, okay? Get everybody back. All right. You're awesome. You're awesome. Keep it up. All right. All right. Thank you so much. We also appreciate all your assistance with that. Let's see. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's go to item number 6. Consider the approval of the payment of bills. And right in front of you, you should have a list that was presented to you. Go ahead and use that one because that has the latest updates on there. Just take a look at that one.
No. And that is, first item, fuel, what fuel is it?
Fuel man is all of our PD cars as well as,
City cars?
yeah, any cars, any of the vehicles.
All city vehicles.
There's nothing really irregular on any of this, we're getting caught up now to where we don't have as much bills, we're getting them all entered before the 15th. I don't think there is anything we are behind on at all.
Hey, Richie.
Hello. Y'all had so many people here.
You're late, $50.
It's actually really late.
We have a limit here.
Yeah.
Now I move to approve the paying of the bills as presented.
Okay, got a motion on the floor for us to go ahead and. Second. Okay. Any further discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you so much, appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move on to 7. Open session, take action on items discussed. A, consider and act upon approval of change order number 3 from TRC Water Well number 4.
So council, as you know, we have to put an extra air valve that's on the water well number 4. It's something that was discovered when Clay Valve came down and looked at it. It was either what I believe was snafu by the engineers, just forgot to design it in there. So in order to accurately document the contract and the install of all that, they asked for a change order. It's a $0 change order because the city's not paying for it. It's their mistake. Even though it does say that there's 0 additional days added, it does extend the revised completion date to January 8th of 2023. They don't anticipate that. They hope to have it done this week. They anticipate having the air release valve, check valve in this week. And if so, they're gonna come down and put that air release in and do the installation. They're the only 2 things they lack. But they're at the mercy now. They finally located it, they got it ordered, and they're waiting on shipping. It's not on some weird 49-week back order. It's something that everybody looked at, it's in stock on a shelf, we have to ship it to you. So that's all. We're at the mercy of shipping right now. But every other lead order was 48 weeks spring to March.
Do we have to change the timeline for that?
They TTE said, and TRC said it would be best to for documentation purposes, to adjust this. They anticipate getting it done before that and being completed, but they're waiting on the change order, or they're waiting on the part to come in. So I said down at the bottom, it says 0 additional days will be added to the contract, but I noticed if you come up, it says revised final completion date of 1/8/23, and it was in December. So they just missed that. Initially, they started with they wanted to trade off something for the cash value of it. I refused that and told them it wasn't our mistake. It was either the engineers or the contractor, but nowhere in between did it say City of Lytle. They agreed and said they would change it at their cost, not ours.
Jesse, anything considered for that? I mean,
Sometimes if there's a delay, if it's going to cost the city additional, there could be some penalties in the contract for that, but in this case, it's a fairly minor adjustment and it's a fairly short additional time. I think that the city did get notice from the performance bond company just to kind of check on the status, and it sounds like the engineer's working with the contractor to finalize it so they can
Yes.
assist the city. So you're just about done with this project. I know you've almost been there for a while now, but fortunately, it sounds like this is in fact kind of toward the end.
Total cost that we're gonna list, if they don't get this completed in the next few days on the bond company paperwork, is $8,500 that stands outstanding, not completed, the value of what's not completed, out of a $754,000, correct, $764,945 contract.
and that's the only thing that's left, just to claim.
That is it. And this only got left, the insulation, which they can't get on until they get this valve piece in. But that air check wasn't discovered until we did that final completion walkthrough with Clay Valve. And they're the ones that actually found it, and that's when I began the talks with TRC, our engineers, and this contractor on where it got left off and how it got missed.
We have the installation.
Yeah, they have everything.
Okay.
They just can't insulate. Yeah, they don't want to insulate until they get this piece in, that way it's all insulated correctly. They anticipated it actually last week and it didn't come in. They're hoping it comes in this week.
It's just, I don't know.
I agree, Mayor. I agree with you 100%. Either we can say no, but it's still, we're at the same time frame. I mean, we're still at that mercy of waiting for that part to show up.
I'm with you, it's just more of the acceptance,
I'm-
because we were supposed to be done months ago.
This project and I don't want to blame this contractor. This entire project wasn't tracked well enough on whoever's in, and it caused a steamroller effect all the way through to today.
The main thing, honestly, when it comes down to it, is it won't put, by changing the date, it's not gonna put us in an awkward position for the future or anything.
And the well is operational. It's in use. It does not change anything. We've been using it for several weeks now. It's just that formal documentation they need.
Council?
Mayor, I move that we approve the change order number 3 for Jersey Water.
A motion on the floor for us to go ahead and approve the change order.
Second.
Okay, a second from Joseph. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much, appreciate it, Council.
I got a newer version with TTE signature too, so you got your last one.
Roger that, we will take care of it. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
Okay, B, consider an act upon adoption of the new employee handbook and set effective date.
So council, as you know, this was a task. Well, I've been in this position 6 months, and it was before that we started this process. It is a final document, been through legal and all of us a few times. So it is now, it's been presented to you for 2 weeks for review. I've had no questions from any of the council members on anything as far as an email response. So it's the time now we can formally adopt it and set an effective date. That way we can put it out to all the city employees for review and get their signatures on the acknowledgement form. And it becomes our new employee manual, updated, upgraded version from where we used to be.
Department heads, you guys reviewed it, bueno.
Well,
I don't think all of them have had them.
we haven't actually seen the final version.
The chief, nothing's changed from what you've seen when we went
I
through.
probably have.
A lot of the changes, were changing from, what used to be a lot of the council to now come to the city administrator, and what used to go to a lot to the city secretary comes to the city administrator. Talks about, discipline, review, stuff like that, how it flows now in the city. And it's just the upgraded terminology on everything. When we started this project, the council, we set a committee to go over this, and it started out with all the department heads. And we found that that became cumbersome at times because we weren't getting all the department heads in, and we weren't getting a lot of feedback in a timely fashion. But we can go back to the department heads, have them look at it. I personally don't think there's gonna be a lot of changes, and the changes, they say, hey, what about this, what about that? We can send it back to legal, let them charge us again to say, can't change it, this is what we gave you, that's why we gave you this. It's been through an HR review, professional HR company, and it's been through our legal for review. Nothing, the meat and bones don't change. You know, as far as vacation, holidays, what the employees are accustomed to is not gonna change.
Yeah.
Changes are gonna come to paydays. We're gonna go to the exact same 2 week, with the exception of the police department. Every other city department will be on the exact same pay scale. Currently now we have Public Works, Animal Control, and is it the library on the same one as Wednesday to Wednesday? Are you on this Saturday, like City Hall? We have 2 different pay scales. And the problem is when we process the payroll for direct deposit, we have to process it and the employees have to pre-fill out 3 days on their timesheet. We need to close out payroll the Friday before it get in, we review it on Monday. Wednesday, when it's processed, it is a final document, not something we're coming back in and saying, hey, you forgot to sign this, you got. So it just spells all that out. We'll all get on the same pay scale or pay timesheet 2 week period. Those are really your big changes. They've got some new wording terminology in there we've cleaned up, talking about flex time. If you're gonna use it in the same period as there is no magical bank for flex time. We added in there if you were on-call pay, so there is not a pay for on-call. Somebody says, hey, you know, the police department says, you know, David Lopez, you're gonna be on call, you're the on-call supervisor this weekend. There is no pay with that. All that means is that you need to be ready and within a 20-minute response back to the city if we need you. Now, if you're required to do something, if an officer calls you while you're on call, you can clock in for those hours you were handling business. If you're responding back, that you clock in. But as far as being on call, unless you're on call in the city, if we have something going on with Public Works and there's something contractors working in the middle of the night, we're afraid they're gonna hit a line, and we want to put a crew on call, James, I need 2 guys on call in the city on standby. They're on the clock, they're here working. But just to be on call. We have a lot of employees that are on, I mean, really, everybody in the city is on call. So we're not gonna pay for that, and I think Public Works, you see it just an hour. But if they're answering emails or they're doing something, they're gonna get paid for it. Typically now, if they're on call for a weekend, they get 3 hours of pay each day because they have to come into the city to do their rounds anyway.
So that will cover them, like when they get calls of, hey, my water got turned off. Or
They document, they clock in for that time,
whoever's taking the phone.
taking the phone,
Yeah.
they can clock in for phone calls.
You might want to comment prior, before that, how much was the on-call pay that you would get?
It's just 1 hour.
It was like, yeah, so I mean, it wasn't significant.
Yeah.
So there, I mean.
There's
we're
no
probably gonna
change.
Have that, but it's not, I mean, and I think, to be honest with you, I mean, I haven't looked at the final, super finalized version. It's like any other document. 6 months from now, we may find something in there that doesn't jive with our operations and we'll have to come back anyway. So
Well,
I think,
it's gonna be a living, breathing document. We can make adjustments to it.
James, you had something?
I'm just saying, my guys they get $40 for the weekend on call.
They get an hour's worth of pay. It's automatic setup. So they would not get that pay, that hour. But they're already getting 3 hours every Saturday and Sunday because they gotta come into town and do work, do rounds or whatever. And then if they're at the house and they get a call while they're on call, they clock in. I took a 30-minute phone call talking to a resident about a water leak. I had to go back into the town and check on something from the moment they leave their house. They clock in, they're on our time, right? They're in a city vehicle. It just, if we do the other way, where it's just, you're on call, we're gonna give you a set hour or 2 hours, we need to adjust our budget. Police don't get it, animal control doesn't get it, no other city department gets it, because we've never had that before. But by virtue, I mean, every city employee is on call. So, it's however the council wants to work it.
That'd be good. As long as there's ways to track.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they're, like I said, they're not missing out on anything. I mean, they're, like I said, they're still getting their pay.
Council?
So on emergencies and bad weather, I know there's a statement in there that says you can use secured vacation to compensate, I guess,
Yes.
for bad weather.
So,
Is there any circumstance where the employee has to use vacation? Can they go unpaid?
they could go and pay, I guess, if they.
Because I
have
didn't
a
see it,
short.
I didn't see it mentioned anywhere, so. I just
No,
wanna
it's just
make
if they
sure.
wanna make up, now, if we have a bad weather day and the council or somebody says, hey, you know what, city, it's ice over, we're closing city hall, essential employees only. Everybody will stay home. If you wanna get a full paycheck, then you can use leave to make up for those 8 hours. If you don't care about it, full, you don't have to use those hours. But if we go to where every time the counselor, somebody says, hey, you don't have to come into work today, it's not fair to the essential employees that did come into work. They're coming in there working, the police department, there's no days off. They gotta come in and work. So we're gonna say, and I'm using PD as an example, that, you know, police department, you're in for an 8-hour shift. You're essential, we're paying you your normal rate. Animal control, you gotta come in and take care of the animals. You're gonna get paid for those hours. But all the other city employees, you stay home and we're gonna pay you. To me, that doesn't sound fair. I don't believe that's done anyway. If you want a full paycheck, you get to use time.
So I just want to make sure it was never stated anywhere is that you're required to take vacation or you're required to take your sick time. But if I choose not to get paid and save my vacation, some companies do that for accountability. So they can use up vacation time instead of keeping it on the books. So I'm just making sure, because it was never stated anywhere.
If it's,
Not getting paid is an option.
correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, if it's not stated in there specifically, then you don't have to use your time, right? So if I'm
Correct.
40-hour work week and we're closed for 8 hours, I can either use 8 hours of my time or not use it and just be short on my check.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Good question.
One other little thing that's just, it's on page 29 on vehicle operators. There's an acronym for DVM, I believe it should be DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. Page 29.
City reserves the right to check the DVM, Department of,
Right there.
DMV. Yes, sir, I see that.
And if you could, it's good to reference the acronym before you use it. It's good practice.
Just
Not that it has to be.
basically just spell out.
I get this from that.
The only other one was on page 8 on paydays. It may not be anything, but paydays are on Fridays, but you reference the weekend as a payday. Not you, but whoever wrote this. So if a payday falls on as a weekend or holiday, it's like the second and third sentence.
We can take the weekend out. If it falls on,
Yeah,
the
because Fridays will never
weekend.
fall on the
I
weekend.
think they're just describing it, but yeah. if it
Well,
falls-
that's from prior, because we used to get paid on the 15th and the last day of the month. And
Right,
that's
so
what
that would fall.
That's a
on the
leftover
weekend.
from that, sir.
Okay.
That would be.
And I think that's just kind of it's just a
Yeah, that's just,
description.
And we don't do that
Take
anymore,
that out.
so it wouldn't apply.
English such as a holiday.
I believe that's it. I really do, like this manual. It doesn't put everything in technical terms. It's like I'm sitting right in front of you telling you.
And that's how, when working with Alderman Emery, that's how it was written.
It's
more
very
of a-
nice, like, it's very detailed. I mean, if you have a question, it's basically that.
We spent
It's very good.
many hours, many hours trying to get it to where it wasn't written by nothing personal, a lawyer. Where an average person could read it, you know?
Yes, and it does come across that way. Very nice.
And I want to give credit, our lawyers, we work through this a lot, and they've made a lot of great suggestions along with the lady who did our HR stuff. We put a lot of things in there that it wasn't in our previous manuals. And there's a lot of things in here now that legal said, hey, doesn't really apply to you, but you need to have it in your book just to be on the safe side.
Oh, with that, Mayor, I want to make a motion, we adopt the new employee handbook. And I guess we need to set an effective date, which is,
Whatever y'all feel comfortable with, we can go with December 1st, we can go with January 1st, we can send it out to the employees.
December 1st.
December 1st, sounds
We're gonna
good.
set for December 1st. Thank you.
Got a motion for us to go
I'll
ahead and
second
adopt?
that.
Now, we won't have some employees, everybody's gonna have to get a copy of it.
I'll send it all out
before
tomorrow,
December 1st.
electronically, and yeah.
That's one day for everybody, or 2 days. Okay.
We'll send it all out, we're gonna work with everyone.
Okay.
You got
Some people.
the time frame to get it back to us.
won't be back in the work.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Okay, discussion. So, and Richie was leading to where I wanted to ask. So one of the normal things that we like to do is to make sure that all employees got a chance and they sign something that they,
And that's part of this.
so we're gonna collect that and just give them some time.
By our policy, you get 2 weeks. So if a new hire comes in, they're mandated and they're covered by this policy manual on day one. They get up to 2 weeks to review it and send that form back to us saying, yes, I've read it, I understand it. But doesn't matter if you're new employees, previous, you come in day one, this is our manual. You're governed by it. Here it is on day one, start reviewing it.
Well, my concern would be though, is if I've got an employee, if it comes effective December 1st, I've got an employee on days off, doesn't come back till December 2nd, he's gonna be under a policy that he hasn't even had a chance to look at. It's just, it seems like
What's
we
the
need to give
option?
them a little bit of time. Give
Your
them-
option is not to sign
So if we gave them,
it. If
we
they
gave them
decide
2
not to
weeks.
sign it,
Yeah, but if we gave them 2 weeks, they could come back and say, well, hey, you gave me 2 weeks, I didn't review it, the paper's due today, but I don't work till tomorrow, I'm not gonna review it, tomorrow I'll be on vacation. At some point, we just gotta rip the Band-Aid off and say, here it
Seems
is.
like to me 2 days is fine.
It's the same as if it's a new employee. We'll make it effective in, 3 days? And then everyone has 2 weeks from the effective date to read and sign it.
Okay.
So
So you got
just
2
as
weeks.
if a new guy comes in, it's effective for him, but he's not obligated to have a signed sheet for 2
Oh,
weeks.
2 weeks.
But we need to get this thing signed and on the books, because it was what, 15, 20 years old before we started on it, way out of date. And we started on it, 21, it would have been like May or June 21. We need to
Been a
get
while.
this thing done.
Actually started the first phase was in 17.
Oh, yeah, but
So
I agree, it's just one of the, we gotta rip the Band-Aid off. Yeah, we'll buy some equipment, it requires hands-free use of cell phones, no texting and driving, with state law. So we'll have to buy some of our vehicles that don't have hands-free already installed or already as part of the standard package, we'll buy some hands-free devices. And it governs paid employees, part-time employees, volunteers, it covers you all. So you're governed by this.
all right.
And I'd like to throw my 2 cents in. Matt and Richie really carried this thing along in the early stages. As he mentioned, we had all the department heads coming in, and it wasn't really possible for everybody to have some input to it. But Richie, having been here long, and Matt and Josie here, they really hammered this thing, and hammered and worked together. So sterling job on the report.
Yeah, you led the group, so
I
we
was just-
appreciate it.
Point them in the direction they did.
That's good. It was a good team effort all the way around, get it through, so that's good. And Matt, you closed it all together and put it together for us, so we appreciate it with the help of our attorneys, so that's awesome. Okay, so any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, there we go. We can go ahead and approve, and it's effective 1 December. Okay, please make sure we get it out to the.
I'll send it all out first thing in the morning via email, and then make sure I hand deliver copies.
And department heads, please talk to them and tell them that we need them to review it and sign that sheet and get it back to us, so we can get it in their folders. All right, C, consider and act upon the approval of the AEP franchise agreement.
I will let legal handle that one because they've been working on it up to the last minute today.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, there were some final comments that we had, our utility attorneys looked at it, communicating with AEP's attorneys to resolve it. There were only, two final, items that were addressed today, dealing with, clarifying any potential conflict that may arise in the future regarding state law and the ordinance, and some of the language in there made us a little uncomfortable. We wanted just to make sure that there wasn't gonna be a situation where AEP would decide, oh, this doesn't apply, or there's a conflict here, we're gonna do it this way. So instead, we just made it clear that if the parties see there's a problem, we'll notify each other and then try to resolve and work through those things. And the second other area had to do with assignment of the agreement. A lot of cities that are larger that have a city charter, you're a general law city, so you don't have one, but will require any assignment of the agreement to go to the city council. And AEP wanted the right to assign it, and we said, no, you can't unless the city approves it. And then they then said, okay, well, what if we assign it to an affiliated entity, that kind of thing. So, which again, is often allowed, but again, sometimes stopped if you had a charter that said, no, the city must approve those. Because cities, obviously, they want to have some, input on, you're going to assign something like a general power provider or something like that. So, excuse me, so we resolved that. They will be allowed to assign. We didn't think it was going to be, AEP has, like a lot of utility companies, sometimes will merge and they'll have reorganized various subsidiaries and things like that. So some of these agreements may kind of pass around to that. So we just require that they provide the city notice under those sort of situations. But otherwise, the agreement has been pretty much the one as we revised several weeks ago. There's some back and forth. So today's the final last little tidbit. So should be good.
And so the franchise they're paying is in accordance with, or here, whatever the right law is.
The public utility.
Texas Public Utilities Regulatory Act.
Mhm.
So they're paying us based on those standards. And when this started, I went back to see if AEP was even paying us a franchise, because we haven't had a franchise signed with them. And talking to their rep for quite a while. They were paying us a franchise based off of that rate. So it's what we're used to getting already anyways. I know there was some hold up in years past on it. I don't remember all those details, but like I said, for a number of years, we've not had a franchise with them, and now we get one.
We needed to get this taken care of without a doubt. So,
Right, so the agreement's just basically almost memorializing what the city and AEP have been doing for a little while here. So you're just documenting it. And so there were some little small legal details to get
So
resolved.
you're happy with it legally?
Yes, overall it's fine.
so Jesse, so it still needs to come back to us, right?
No, this would be it. So if you approve it, we go ahead and approve the ordinance, and the ordinance includes the franchise agreement itself.
Okay, so we can take action tonight then,
Yes, you
go ahead
can.
and approve it. Okay.
Yes.
Matt, are you happy with what the lawyers have provided for us?
Yes, sir. This is the first one I've ever really looked at it. I mean, really, their legal expertise is gonna be far better than mine looking at it. My research was, hey, were we getting something better before or not? And we were getting what they're based off of what I could see.
But the main thing is we need to get this done. We haven't.
Your recommendation is to.
My recommendation is to approve the draft that both their attorneys and our attorneys have agreed upon.
I mean, Mayor, I move that we act upon approval of the AP franchise agreement.
Got a motion on the floor? Get a second? Got a second? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much, appreciate that. Being able to take care of that, so Matt, thank you for the extra, and Jesse for the push too. We can go ahead and get this thing care of. All right, let's move on to D, discuss and consider possible action on pet adoption program. Santi, come on up. Come on up. And Matt, if you want to contribute on this.
Yes, sir, I'll stand by.
That'll be good. So Santi, a while back, we had actually talked about the opportunity for us to go ahead and do some sort of adoption, threw some ideas out there along with maybe getting the services of Richie.
Yes.
To be able to post a picture, be able to go down that road,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we have Allies. Allies does it for us too. They post it up on their Facebook page as well. And we had a few people come in from seeing that on Facebook as well. And, someone said they saw it in the paper. I don't know if it goes in the paper or not.
Is there any reason why we can't send it out with Richie's Weekly?
No reason. When do you, is it weekly or is it quarterly?
He
How do
sends
you
it
do it?
weekly, every Monday morning.
Every Monday morning? Okay.
I mean, if I had something, I guess what we talked about in our, some sort of meeting we had, was doing a pet of the month.
Yeah.
And one option was me throw something out there in my deal every week. You know, have a sign, maybe do something every week, you know, to keep it fresh and in the forefront.
Yeah, I'll get with Nana, because Nana, Maria, she's good at that. Coming up with writing something up about a dog, I'll get with her and then email it to Richie. Like Friday or when do you want it? Wednesday or?
We can do it Friday and I can have it, or, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter, Friday, it's whatever. That'd just be one prong of whatever we decide to do, but it's something I could.
Do that every week or keep that same animal for like a whole month or?
So
Somebody
if I can, so Catherine, here's my vision. We obviously still have an animal number issue as far as the number of animals we have out there. We just can't move them. We're full, adoption agencies are full, so it's hard for us to move the numbers, so we need to have room. The only other way is to start trying to adopt these animals out. So we need to do something. Our adoption program, from what I've seen, has not been very active. We don't really have anything on our website, on the animal control side, nor we're posting anything or pushing it on our side, on our sign. So I'd like to get a more aggressive adoption program going so we can adopt some of these animals out. We need to work with Santi and look at our current adoption policies or application to make sure we're not too stringent, right? I mean, we gotta understand where we live and that not everybody's gonna keep their dogs inside the air conditioned, you know, kind of thing. But maybe look at things like, hey, spay neuter mandatory. I think that's a great idea. We don't want to add to the population, especially if you're adopting in.
Yeah, it's
So we
already,
can cover those.
we went mandatory in 2013, so every animal needs to get spayed and neutered before it goes. And I don't think I added it on my monthly, my slides, but we did have 3 adoptions this past month in October. We had 2 dogs go together, had 2 cats get adopted, and one was here in town, the other one came 2 hours away to adopt these dogs that we had here.
And that's the more we can do, not only locally, but on social media, the chief's emails get seen by, I mean, the more of these animals we can get back to the homes they need to be in. That way we don't have to make tough decisions for these animals. That's my ultimate goal. Let's keep every animal in a happy home or a happy place.
I'll wait for your brief, Santi, but we're still above 20.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, and I guess we can get animals out and they come right in. I have a picture and a video to show y'all when I do my slides of what happens out there when no one's there.
I'm with you, Santi, but it's easier for us to adjust if you're down in 20 and you have pets being dropped off versus being at 30, 40 and you get more. It's harder for you to be able to.
Our numbers do go down, like we'll be down like at 25, but like I said, we get animals come in, like we had 3 dogs, 3 puppies come in one day saying they found them here in the city. Can we prove they found them in the city? No. And I had to take them, and they don't belong to them, so we can't make them pay their surrender fee. Can we?
Well, I think unfortunately sometimes we're probably too lenient on things. If somebody comes out there, and I'm not there, I'm just thinking from the outside looking in, right? But if I know, hey, I want to get rid of these dogs, I take them to the animal control and I don't say, I found these wandering in the street, they're just gonna take them, no questions asked. That's a pretty simple project. Whereas if we said, okay, where did you find them? Let me get your information. We're gonna do some research. If we discover that these are really your animals, there could be an issue or something. You know, we need probably
That's
make
what
it a
we,
little harder.
that's what we tell them, and they're like, okay, like, they don't care, like, they say they found it in the parking lot, in the Bell's parking lot, there's no cameras out there we can go look at, or HB, or no one really goes to look at the cameras, and if we try to look at the cameras, it'll be like a long process, and
My only thing is if we don't do something, we're being overrun. And if we don't start doing something or being more aggressive on how we move our animals out to better homes, we may have to make tougher decisions to keep that place sanitary and controllable and cost effective. I mean, at some point, we gotta do something.
And Santi, you guys, you guys do what that facility is built. Yeah, I've seen you take I think his name is Daniel, the dog
yeah.
that you guys took in, very malnutrition. You guys took care of him, brought him up. Okay, now is a point where we can actually find him. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
We take care of them, and then we find them a home for them to be able to go to. But we just need to make sure that we got to get our numbers down to a point where we're actually a little bit easier for you, for the staff, for the resources that are part of that. Just because that facility is not built to be able to have that many animals.
Yeah, good.
And it's not fair for the animals, and it's not fair for you guys. So we got to figure out a way where we can actually leverage a little bit more. Adoption is one of them. We got to have a little bit more flexibility, and we got to be able to work to be able to get these pets, these dogs, these cats to homes out there and do a better job on taking care of that. And this leverage. I will send it out. I don't mind, but I need to get the information. But Richie has a great audience out there too, to be able to get, highlight the pet or the month or the week.
I think just do, on my page, just do it one every week.
One every week.
That way, if people know it's the same one, they're gonna be less likely to go to, just every week's gonna be something different.
And we can post on the board here. I would love to have an event, an adoption event. We pick a day, a Saturday at the animal shelter. We're doing an adoption event from 8 to 5, that day, 8 to noon, whatever. I mean, we've already got staff there for the full day. We're paying them. Let's hold an adoption event and let's try to see how many people will come out and adopt the animals. Maybe it's a low cost. Maybe it's a free. I don't know. When we're overrun with dogs, our costs can go down on what we adopt them for, right? So if we can find them better homes.
What's the adoption fee?
For a dog, it's $150. We spay, neuter, microchip and everything, because it's like $115 to get them done at the veterinary clinic. And then the cost is going, I'm not sure what the cost is, because we haven't used the vine yet, because they're kind of backed up. So the cost could have gone up. I'm not too sure. I'll have to get with them to see.
Yeah, you got to get your money back.
Well, we can do for the normal stuff, we can keep it at a normal level of adoption, but we're talking about being able to do it, Matt was mentioning about an event. And those, if we kind of have an idea, we can figure out funding from other sources where we can make it, hey, it's half price or something,
Yeah.
right?
And that's what with these adoptions that we had recently, I went $45 to adopt a cat, and
There you go.
on those 2 dogs, I went 75 each, so it was at $150 for the dogs, and I try to work with the people just to get them out. So
Yeah, but we want to be able to use leverage on the opportunity to highlight, because we got to get our numbers down. And be able to get them down to the 20s. The closer you get to the 20, the more you have flexibility in case you have an influx of animals that get dropped off or something does happen. Okay, so we did.
So yeah, with the people saying they found them in the city, what do we do about that? Because the people in San Antonio, when they go to Human Society, they, even though it's not their dog, they make them pay a surrender fee if they want to surrender. So I need to do something to, because it's costing us when we take a dog in for the shots and everything that we do for it. So
you're saying anybody can come in and say they found it in the city?
that's
or
what people
Lidle
do.
citizens are coming in?
Anybody.
The
Doesn't matter, citizen, Joe Blow from Laredo's passenger, I happen to stop at your ATV and look,
Yeah.
I found these 2 really nice, well-nourished dogs running around and I want to release them to you.
And we have people here in the city that live here that take in dogs from the relatives outside the city so we can take them, but we can't prove it. But I know they do it because
If that, so my opinion is if every other agency doesn't do that, why are we? Why are we taking them for free? Because you know what that means? We just get them all from every town around us. You know, if every other organization that somebody's talking about charges a surrender fee, maybe it's not, I don't know. We gotta do something to help curb that issue. But if I know I can take them to Lidl and it's not gonna cost me anything and there's no questions asked, guess where I'm taking the dogs to?
I hate saying this because I probably kick myself for it, but the option, if you've got a big problem, is you make the people come to the police and file a report that they found the animals in the city. Then potentially, I don't know if that was not really a crime, would be a false report, but then potentially that's gonna basically make a big difference because they're not gonna wanna come and report that. That just be something I'm throwing out there.
No, that sounds
And
good.
I've had someone come up to the facility and get mad because I wouldn't take dogs and he was gonna like assault me, but I told him back off and then he just got, the girl was telling him, get out of here, so he took off. So, yeah,
So why don't we do this, because the only thing we can take action is on the pet adoption program. So why don't we do this? It sounds like there's avenues there. The city administrator has flexibility to be able to iron out. So if there's something that the police can help out, if you guys can iron that out, that would be great.
We'll work on it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or not tomorrow.
That way we can help you with the surrenders and maybe have a different venue to be able to take care of that issue.
Probably wish I never said it, but.
No. To
You'll
be
be fine,
honest,
it's
I
your
think
guys.
that's the best idea, what you said though.
A person
I
who
really do.
legitimately has a problem will not,
Be scared to come see you.
yes. So if you get a person that says they go to a church, they say, I broke down and I need some money, and you say, the church tells them, you know what, before we help people or deal with cash, we want to get the police over and get them involved, so we make sure everything's on the up and up. So that about there will knock out about 90% of those people. They'll walk on. So this, I think, would do, because there are legit, I do live here. I have commercial property over here. There are loose dogs that run around, and people do pick dogs up at HEB. You know, my mom's a dog lover, and when there's stray dogs in her, she's gonna call and say, there's dogs over at O'Reilly's, there's dogs in front of my buildings, you know? So, but maybe we can help. We'll get with Matt and them and.
That's the other thing that I find strange is that somebody delivers it
Yeah.
to the front door, but if we require the city to go out and pick up the animal and we find that the dog's sitting there on the porch because he lives there, I mean, it's kind of obvious, right?
well, I had this one lady, she's over City Road, back over corner properties in the city, not the front part. She said there was a stray dog that's been hanging around, so I got the dog, scanned it, microchip, came back to the adoption agency that came out, so I took it back to them. Came back the next morning, the car there, lady crying for her dog. Her mom lied, it was the daughter's dog, the mom didn't want the dog there. So,
The city has,
And we've turned a few away. If something told me, I know this isn't a.
I think that's a good idea.
I'll work with the chief on that and we'll get that done. So I'll work with Santi on a pet adoption program and we'll get something rolled out in the next couple of weeks.
As far as the pet adoption, I think, Sante, you probably are the best person to know what dog or what animal to highlight,
Mhm.
to put onto the page or to put on the front. Because you also know if we get requests for that animal, you don't need to put them up the next week, right? So I think you're probably the best person to do that.
I'll work with Richie and
We'll get that, we'll get
Just
those.
keep the numbers going down, so, okay? And just work with Matt and just figure out a way. We gotta have a little bit more flexibility to find homes for these dogs and cats, okay?
Okay.
That'll be good. Council? Anything on this one?
Since they're gonna take care of it, I move that we take no action at this point, allow the parties involved to work this out and report back to us.
Got a motion on the floor for no action? Got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you, appreciate it. All right, moving on, E, consider an act upon the cancellation of the second regular council meeting in December and allow bills to be paid.
Council, I'm sorry, Mayor, go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is a normal practice in the city when we have, come December, it's normally not that busy. So we normally cancel that second meeting and allow finance to pay normal bills. If there's anything crazy that comes in, then we need to put a hold on that, and just hold it. So that's what I would have
Been doing it for several years now.
for, as long as I work, yeah.
This happens to be the Monday, the 26th, right after Christmas,
Which is a
so,
holiday.
yeah.
So
So it's,
you were saying to hold?
No, if we had any bill that we identified as, hey, this isn't a normal bill we get, or something normal that we have a question on, then we can pay on normal bills, like fuel bills, stuff like that. But if it's something that came in that we're just like, hey, what is this? We're not sure, that we need to bring that back before council at the January.
Because I believe in one of our council meetings, we gave you the authority to go ahead and pay bills and then just present them at the next possible meeting. That's correct.
Yeah,
So,
and
That's
this
what you're
just,
saying.
yeah, exactly. Yes.
our next meeting after that would be on the 9th of January. That'd be the next one. So, council?
I'll make that motion to be cancel the second, regular meeting, December. Of the, supposed to be paid.
Okay, got a motion on the floor? Got a second? Joseph? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right. Jesse's smiling, he'll get paid. You won't have to pay.
I think Jesse gets paid no matter what, whether that's part of it.
He'll be happy. Okay, F, update on the transfer files from previous city attorneys.
So council, I'm still working on getting the initial meetings set up. This is the ball's in our court. I'm trying to work with legal, and it is the one that works for with us. Austin, I can't remember his name for some reason. I'm trying to coordinate some dates with, Austin on when we can go to, the previous city attorney's location and go through files. In talking with legal, we think that it would be the best course of action for the initial trip, that legal go with us. We look at how they have everything organized, and then from there, I'll be able to go by myself and recover files that we need as I deem necessary. So once I get those prospective dates back from Austin, I haven't heard back from him, I sent him an email last week. Once I get those dates, I can shoot them to our previous city attorney. I will tell you, he's already told me he's gonna be in and out a bunch with traveling for all of December, but he'll work with us the best he can. So as soon as I get that date scheduled, we'll get over there as soon as we can and start on that. Then once it's just myself and the previous city attorney, that'll make it a whole lot easier, because we can actually set it, hey, every Tuesday at 3, I'm gonna come over and we'll spend an hour to go on 2 files. But we're now trying to coordinate 3 people's time, and it makes it a little more difficult. But I'm still working on it. I've got an email off to Austin and waiting to hear back from him.
Okay. So the reason that you're going over it is just to kind of make.
The initial trip is gonna be for the attorney to look through the file, kind of see how they're organized, and then we can start to identify items we need. We'll bring some back that day, I'm sure. We'll find stuff that we need that day. But really, it's gonna be legal's term or time to go over there and go through it cursory wise and say, okay, Matt, important, not as important. Let's start to identify, we can make a list, and I can go back over there and we can say, this is what we need, these items. At that point, our previous city attorney can look through them, make copies if he still needs them, and then get us what we've requested. There's some items we've already discussed that we think we need already, that we think he might have a more updated version, or he's got a version of it, and we'll see once we go there.
And we communicated with the former city attorney, and that was sort of the issue in terms of like, it's such a large volume of files, and we already have a sense of what the council's direction is, with the priority of what kinds of documents you want to get to first, but I'd like to go there initially and just sort of assess how to arrange and what we can do. But it doesn't make sense to have the attorney there all the time, because that would get very expensive very quickly. So the thinking was to initially kind of go and kind of begin triaging it a little bit, figure out where the big chunks are, and then have Matt and the staff begin going through that. And we can continue working with them as needed. But that'll be a little bit cheaper, but to initially get sort of Austin and Matt in there to kind of go through, get a sense of the lay of the land, and then begin.
We had a date picked out, it just didn't, in the end of it, it didn't work out, the date had to change, and then that messed everybody's schedules up there.
The priority, this happened in May. So we're getting close to a year. So we need to take care of business, okay?
I'll reach out to Austin again tomorrow, I'll call him and see what he's got going on.
So let's figure out a way to make sure, especially with those files that we need access to, that we need to, because we got some open items that we need to take care of. We need to figure this out. How we get, this is just an update, so, council, anything? All right, appreciate that. Thank you, man. All right, 8, executive session. Is there anything, Jesse, that we need to go into executive session on that?
No update, Mayor, that, did not change.
Thank you. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to department heads. Get an opportunity. Last month, we actually had to cancel the meeting, so we didn't get a chance to get our updates. So it's going to be a good way to catch up on what's going on and get us information. So we'll go ahead and start with 9 department head, animal control director's report. Santi, all yours.
Okay, I think I do that. I heard about it.
You have the scared. I keep reading the notice. That's not good.
October. We had 89 calls for service, we transferred 28 animals, took in 15. Animal count went, 38 dogs and 22 cats. We had 10 cats go to Texas Humane Heroes, 3 to Humane Society, and 10 cats to Rescue Pet Movements, and 5 dogs to Snip to. We had 7 volunteers, total of 23 hours. Still on the, just trying to figure that out, what the balances are and stuff in that.
Give us on that. Okay. You got all that info.
How, can you figure that out yet or no?
I just wanna know, so you're not-
Oh, yeah, I thought I saw an email where she said,
Yeah,
I
but
sent it to you.
the, for the,
Okay.
we'll work on it.
No, it's just the numbers you have, we can't verify that.
yeah, so it's different from what,
Right,
how Josie did it from the balances, so
Get
it's,
what, figure it out, and let's just go ahead and stay on the same, because we have things lined up in a better manner. So that way we can have our numbers match up, okay?
like I said, I had 4, but we had 3, so we had 7 adopted, total transfer to rescues, 243. Had a Bella's Factory in October, we had 102 pet owners, total of 76 cars come through. And that's it, but I'm gonna show y'all, pull that video up and picture. This was about at 9 o'clock at night, and luckily one of my ACOs, Rachel Melinda, went back up to check something and noticed there was a kennel out there with a cat inside of it.
Santi, you guys actually, even this weekend, you guys responded, there was somebody that,
Yeah, that was, I don't know, virtually what I call it Mission Impossible.
yeah.
The video,
Which one was that?
lady with a dog in the car.
Yeah.
So
So you guys took care of that.
yeah, this is about 9 o'clock at night. If you look, they'll be on the road here in a bit. You'll see the car come up. They don't pull into my parking lot. They park on the highway right there on 2790 right there. They're stopping. So we don't get the description of the vehicle or license plate number because they know we have cameras. So they get out and he runs into through the yard and tosses the carrier there. He's fully covered, blue bandana over his face, cap, so you can't see his face or anything. And the car takes off to do a turnaround to come back and pick him up.
It's easier to hit a liquor store than do that.
So he's running, carrying the kennel. Just puts down, runs back, the car comes back, picks him up, doesn't drive back to our facility, they turn around and go back down. So that's what we deal with on a daily basis. So
Did that get reported to the police?
but
Okay.
there's no way we can
Okay,
get
no,
a plate
here's
number.
what I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
When we have cases like that, we report it to the police. Let's get pictures out on social media, just like every other crime scene, right? Let's put it out across our social media, the chief's page. Do you know this person? Can you identify him? We're investigating an animal cruelty case.
Well, here's the other issue. I got two comments on this. One, I'm glad those people, as much as I'm glad they did that as opposed to throwing them in a creek somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay?
And that's.
So I want to make that comment. But secondly, I want to say this. If you report that to us, even though we may never find out who that guy is, if we don't know people are doing this, our officers on patrol are not going to be looking for that type of activity. If we know it's happening, then they can be looking for it. And at a certain point in time, we will catch someone.
Yeah.
So that's
Like I
the
said,
issue.
we can post it, but most of the time you get negative comments.
Well, yes.
What you just said,
Exactly.
instead of throwing it in the ditch.
But there's nothing wrong with reporting everything to the police, and that way our officers will know. We had 3 reports of animals being abandoned last week. So then the officers know when they're driving by the animal shelter to be looking.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if we don't know that's happening, I'm not gonna be looking for it. The squeaky wheel gets the, whatever it needs.
This is,
Yeah.
Can, one of the two of you explain the illegalities of it, please?
So basically abandoning an animal is, falls under animal cruelty, I believe. You know, I'm not gonna quote it right now, but you can't abandon an animal, you know, just throw it out there and assume that somebody's gonna care for it, you know? Now, of course, it is an animal control facility, and again, I'm kind of, this is a very challenging deal, because if animal lover is gonna say, yay to that person, because they could have thrown it in a creek and thrown a brick in there and drowned them, you know, so it is a very challenging deal, but on the city side, we've got to operate with taxpayer funds. So there is these people can be charged with a crime. Now, you know, will the particular prosecutors accept those charges, and that's a whole nother story, but it does meet the elements of a crime.
is there anywhere in San Antonio or the metro where people can go drop off? Is there anybody in San Antonio that we might be able to highlight and say, hey, if you have a pet that you can't take care of financially or for other reasons, this is where you take them, where we can also publicize that information?
It's just, rescues that pretty much rescues who mainly take the animals. Other places, like there's other animals that can't take the animals, so that's what they resort to, but it's hard because rescues are full too as well, and they have a kind of way to people inside
And the reason I ask is, as we get the opportunity to highlight, you know, what's going on, let's also offer an option. If there is a place where they can legally do that in San Antonio, let's pass that information on. You know, we work in 2 different things, but just, you know, Skip works real closely with people trying to get rid of stuff, and they want to get rid of it. Well, you can't get rid of it here, right? But hey, if you take it to San Antonio, this is a place, you know, so there might be other options for them to get rid of their stuff.
And that's what we do when someone calls us, that of course not from our area, and we try to refer them to rescues too. We give them a rescue to look up and give them numbers. We can give you food just to get by until you can find someone to take the animal, but we do refer them to other rescues to see if they can take them.
But if you have the information, you know, get it to us and we can push it out for you. That way we tell folks, hey, for some reason you have to, this is the appropriate place for you to go take, and they'll be taken care of. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because sometimes people don't know, and if you give them an option where it's open, and there's not gonna be any questions asked or anything, they probably feel a lot more comfortable than driving into 2790 and then.
And like I said, we do try to give them as much information as we can to other rescues that can possibly take it, or if they might have more information, more outlets they can give you than me, like other rescues that they put it out in an email to them and stuff like that. But we do try to give much information to people who need to find homes for their dogs that they can't.
Just use us for that too. We can help out with some of this and stuff, but I know it's hard. I mean, just for me to give up, just thinking of dropping Dexter somewhere, I mean, that's hard. I mean, he's
Like
become
a couple
part of the
years-
family, and that's just difficult.
Like a couple of years back before we had cameras, when people were throwing the dogs over the fence and one of the dogs ended up dying, and of course you put that on the news, and then of course you got all this backlash, but yeah.
There will always be, but if you do things for the right reasons, you can't go wrong. You know, you can't go wrong. So there'll be a little bit.
So the animal in this case is a good animal.
Yes.
I don't see why they did this. I'm trying to figure it out. They went to the expense of having the carrier.
Yeah.
I mean, because the city doesn't ask questions.
Yeah.
They'll accept them during the day.
And I talk to them, I try to grill them as much as I can, but then I don't want them coming up to City Hall and making a complaint against me. But I try to get as much information out as I can, saying, okay, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go look at cameras. I try everything to kind of get it out of them, to tell me the truth, but they don't.
Well, thanks for sharing. Council?
I have one other question. How's the mobile phone working? Is it used strictly for after hours? or-
After hours, but they rarely call it. They call my cell phone. That's fine. I got a call, I think 10 from Asheville Dispatch about Mr. Hansen had pulled somebody over about to pick up a dog.
So is
we
that
took care
cell
of
phone following the after hours person or the person
Yes,
on call?
yes, the person on call. Yes.
On call, okay.
So we need to call our dispatch and make sure they've got that cell phone number
Mm.
versus yours. And
Yeah.
I don't know why our officer would be having our dispatch, you know, why he wouldn't. just
Yeah,
call.
no, yeah, they call myself too, the officers.
Yeah,
So it doesn't bother me.
The number doesn't need to be published, but if they could be attached to the dispatch. But
Their on-call cell phone number is published on their website. That's what
Oh, it
it's
is?
for.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It is on call. If you got an issue, that's the number you call. Get an animal control officer.
Thank you.
Thanks, Santi.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. All right, Cassandra. Library.
Alright, I'll go ahead and take it. Okay, for October, this was a guess on how many actual users, because there was an update problem with our software. And I have to call and find out what happened, because it kept telling me error, and then I'm like, oh, it's the software. Only one of the computers was updated, which is the main computer that controls all the other computers. And so I have to talk to the company and see if they can get me the numbers, because all the other computers now have to be updated as well. We had about 50 kids use the kids' computers. Our checkouts were 1,218. And this is something new, it's called SimpliE. It's ebooks. We now offer ebooks to the public. It's actually a free service because the state library offers this program. And we just had to sign a contract with them, and I sent it over to Matt, and he said, it looked good, so signed it, sent it. And we actually had 4 users and 19 loans for the last week of October, which is really good, because I'm like, wow, we only told a few people, and all of a sudden everybody, we had that.
Can we add this to our newsletter and then?
Actually, I have a few of these too. I can
If you'll give me one, 'cause I'm typing up our newsletter now. So I can add it in our newsletter.
Let's put it out there and then.
As long as they have a library card with us, all they have to do is download the app and.
Do you have that digital also?
Okay.
I can take a photo. We
Yeah,
can,
I've got
we can
those.
send it out.
How does that work? Is it given a limited password that only allows the ebook to be used
They can use it for 2 weeks.
for 2 weeks?
Yes, so
And then
it's like a
they're no longer
traditional-
able to access?
So you can get on a wait list with it, and here, I'll do this. It shows you how to access it. Basically, you're gonna go in and download the app on your device, and then you find our library. You can browse the catalog. Once you browse it, you select the book that you want, as long as it's available, and then sign in with your library card number and whatever your password is.
That's good.
And then they can access it.
So they'll still need to come and get a library.
If they don't already have a library card, they'll have to come and get a card with us. But this is for, requesting. We had a lot of people have been requesting this, but when I
One other
tried.
question
Sure.
sorry to interrupt. That each ebook, is it allowed just to be rented out once?
I
Or
think you can,
some of them have like 2 licenses or 3?
this one has, I think it has multiple licenses on this one,
Okay.
because I know with,
Just curious.
other, like Overdrive,
Right.
It's only,
Yeah, it's only one.
It's only
And
one.
it could be out
you have
for
to
months.
wait.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's one of the reasons we didn't go towards that.
Well,
because
kudos, that's
It was
nice, I like
just
that.
too much, so.
Well, thank you, that's very nice.
You mentioned devices, what kind of device,
You
computer
can use
or
a
cell phone?
phone, your cell phone, you can use a laptop, you can use an iPad, tablet.
But not, Kindle or, no,
Kindle is the only one that it does not recognize. They won't work with you. Not sure about the Nook, but I know Kindle was one of the ones that was not, you can use it. You can use all the other ones, but Kindle was the one that you can use.
Awesome. Thank you.
And we had 4 new library cards in October, 22 renewals and 10 information library cards. We make our own library cards, it's easier because if we try to buy those plastic ones, then they lose it, then you have to reissue, it's just a pain, it's easier to make them. And we brought the craft night back, we had one during the week of Thanksgiving. We had 3 craft nights, and then we also showed a movie to the kids. And we're still working on those sections, so hopefully we still have adult nonfiction to finish off, and I believe young adult graphic novels. And still offering the curbside. During the month of October, we also had, guess, the pumpkin weight. I think it was like 16.6, I'm not sure. This lady got it 16.4. I said, you got it, you were the closest. And then candy corn was 339, I think. A little girl gets 330. Okay. And this is our pumpkin decorating contest. The winner was the one on the left, the pigeon. That came in first. And then the second was the Lorax, which is on the bottom with the orange and the yellow. He had a double side. And then third place, actually tied with 2 different ones. The top one with the elephant and the piggy, that's actually a dual pumpkin. It had 2 sides. And then the one on the bottom that had 2 heads. And then I think the pink one came in fourth. And then the top 3 are the ones that the staff did. So we did the Sanderson sisters. These are our library displays. We had a horror for Halloween, and then of course a Halloween in the front, and then another Halloween on the side. And then that top right wasn't supposed to be in here, it was supposed to be in next month's. It was for Veterans Day. And then the bottom one was for Santis. It was adopt a dog, I think it was, adopt a shelter dog. We put a display on. And we're still working with the sales, trying to finish the grant, and I hadn't had time to order the supplies yet, but now I'll get to ordering. That's about it. Does anybody have questions?
How's the facility? Roof, awesome.
Yes, roof's good.
AC working?
Yeah, AC works a lot better, but we had the heater on this house.
All right, council? All right, thank you. All right, Super Skip, here you go.
Okay, this past month, I picked up debris and bulky waste at 31 locations and disposed of it. There were 22 locations that put out brush early. I gave them warnings and advised them of the correct times to put out the brush. And due to the weather and the slow growing season, there's only 8 locations that were maintained, mowed, weeding, and stuff like that in the city. I checked on 14 permits, checked on the progress of the permits and how they were doing things. And I don't know if it's due to the water that we received through the rain or what, but I was only able to catch 4 people watering outside of the parameters of stage 3 restrictions this past month. One, things aren't growing, people that are conserving water because of the rain and the cold. In that sense, it's been a slow month as far as properties, the growth, and the water.
I think we might have, I've been noticing a few places, people putting out for bulk pickup.
Yeah.
You've been seeing that too?
Yes.
Okay.
And,
So you stop by and talk to them and let them know the months that they're,
this week, at a lot of these places I just picked up, but I do stop by there and drop off to, I've got to change my literature because a lot of people aren't home when I go by. And I'll leave them a note, a little door tag, the bulky waste is not picked up except for quarterly now. And I'm starting that.
I think January, April,
January, April, July, and October. It's on our website, as well as the flyers too.
so this
And it'll
is,
be in our newsletter going
and
out.
it's gonna be on the same, right? It'll be the last,
Yeah, it's still the fourth Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, fourth Monday of the month, it's just those 4 quarterlies, and then we'll sprinkle in some bulky pickup like we do with the, Keep Life Beautiful. In between those, I think, and then hopefully, there's gonna be a learning curve, right? We just went from something we've done for years, we'll probably have a couple, 2-3 months where they're still putting it out, and it's just education.
let's give, please make sure if you're gonna put stuff out, please put the months now. So we'll have the latest and greatest, so they'll know which month they gotta wait to.
Where I have a problem right now is people putting furniture out. Now, some furniture gets taken. People see it, say, yeah, I'd like to have that, and they take it, but most of it, mattresses, ratty couches and chairs, there's several places out there already that people will put out this type of furniture. And I don't know what to do with it. I mean, I can't pick it up myself. We really don't have a place, for the furniture out of the sewer plant to take care of it, by burning or whatever, crushing it down. All I can do is leave a note to the people, and the ones that I've talked to with these items out, say, well, I'm putting it out there and hoping somebody will get it. So I'm kind of stuck, and I've got to put up with this, for 3 months, which is gonna be a problem out there.
So we got a month until we get our, no, I'm sorry, yeah, 2 months. I think now it's just, we need to educate them, let them know what's going on. If they say, hey, we're leaving it out, hope somebody's gonna pick it up, you tell them, hey, okay, give you a week, right? Or give you a week, if nobody's picked it up within a week, you need to pull it back in your house and wait till our bulky pickup, or find another way to dispose of it. We, like I told you before, if we just go fix it for them, we become their default to disposal and they just do it again. You know, it's a change. It's an education, no different than me at my house. If my trash won't be changing because they sold. So I gotta figure out how the new company wants to do it. So there's gonna be a time there where I may have to change what I do. So education, we'll work with them.
I have been getting some calls of people saying that there was storage, pre-made storage being moved into the city. So I asked them to call City Hall, because there is a permitting, right? Before they bring something in to go ahead and do that. So I encourage them to call over here. But kind of keep an eye on that. You know, some people are asking and some people are saying, hey, my neighbor brought this in and never told us, da, 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 da. So keep a close eye. I've been getting a lot of phone calls about storage sheds being moved in. So, and they
And
just,
there has been a few moved in that did get permits.
yeah,
A
yeah,
couple that didn't, and then
yeah,
told to go get
Yeah.
permits.
yeah. And it's okay. I mean, just follow the process, right? And we want to make sure that they're not placed in place where it's an easement or anything. You know, that's the reason why we go through the permitting, just to make sure that they're putting it in the right location, so.
I had one, the previous month that put it right along the fence line, and the drip line of the shed, or outbuilding was directly into the neighbor's patio. It's been taken care of since then, but,
Yeah, that was one I got a phone.
I figured you probably did.
Yeah.
So
So,
just so the council's aware, in our new permitting software that we're gonna be going to, we'll be training in December. Skip gets looped in on every permit now. Every single permit we do, it's gonna be his job to now go look at those setbacks and help us. Because not everything goes to our engineers, right, because it's not big commercial entities. But if you're building a home, it's gonna show us what those setbacks are, and that's where Skip's gonna come in and say, okay, yeah, these setbacks look good, he's good to go as well. So we're gonna do more of these checks and balances along the way in the new software.
Yeah, that's some of the things I check now when I come in.
Exactly, yeah. It's things he does now, just now we're gonna have, it's before we issue a building permit, there's gonna be check boxes done by permit, done by fire marshal, not required fire marshal, whatever, and then
That'd be good. Do you need help with anything, Skip?
No.
I see you cruising the new automobile now, huh?
Yeah.
Styling and profiling in the OPD car. That's good.
It's good.
That's good. Yeah, but we appreciate it. Thanks for everything you do. Thanks.
Any questions?
All right, Public Works, James.
Good evening, everyone. Well, we had our traditional Thursday 8-inch main break. We didn't miss it this year.
But we figured out something. Richie, you and Danny cannot be on shift
Well,
anymore.
I just came in for an hour to do that turkey deal.
That's the curse, James. There you go.
We have found, like, Danny and I have worked on holidays in the last 20 years and been there with like 5 or 6 leaks that we can, it's terrible.
So we gotta send one of them away, James, so you can get some rest.
she's got to scroll through it for you, James.
My guys all skipped out, so I got stuck. Okay, and, here in October, we have a total of 178 work orders. New meters, we put in 1, main breaks 2. We replaced 37 meters, most of them are radio reads. Were replaced with a radio read meter, replaced 2 service lines, and, repaired 1 service line leak.
No, you brought us the PDF, so she's gonna have to scroll through it for you. That PowerPoint, so she'll scroll down. Just tell her to move. And she'll go for it.
Okay. On the sewer, we had, 4 that belonged to the customer, and, 4 customers leaks, and then, 1 sewer stops for the customer, on the customer side. And on our, miscellaneous, locates, did 39 locates, reread H2O and gas meter 72. Finals on gas and water, we had 23, news, we had 26. And cutoff list, we only had 1. And, reconnections, we had a total of 18. Miscellaneous work orders, there was 12. And that's our graph chart on, the work orders. Okay, on the, man hours, we spent 16 installing water, 186 on water maintenance, 16 on sewer maintenance, 116 on sewer plant maintenance, 67 hours meter reading, 144 on rereads, and no asphalt or base work. Okay, on locates, there was 42 man hours, burning brush 48, miscellaneous 67 for a total of 702 hours. And that's the chart on our man hours. There it is. Okay, water usage. We have a total of 785 acre feet. Our reduction is 174.1 acre feet. And the new authorized amount after reduction is 610.9 acre feet. The total amount we pumped this year is 477.36 acre feet.
Okay, go back to that. So the 610, that's calendar year, so that's till the end of December?
Yes, from what I can gather from the Edwards, it's a calendar year. And that 174 is based on the different stages of reduction. So they've got a calculator on their website you can use. So it had so many days in stage 1, which is only a 10% reduction. And then you can estimate on there. I think that's without the estimation. But you can estimate, hey, if we stick the rest of this year, which is however many days, in stage 3, then it would lower that 610 a little more. But in looking at it, I think this month helped us with Dave showing me we pumped for this month is gonna be a lot less than what we've done every other month. So this rain's been helping in the cold months.
How much per month do we pump?
We pump with between 40, about 45 acre feet,
45? Okay.
45. If you look at we have 785, and the 174 is what they reduced from our 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. Now, they go by days. They don't go by months, when it starts, and when it finishes, and they figure that percentage. And that's how that works. And apparently, we pumped 477, so I imagine we got this, if you take 610 minus 477 is our balance
To get us through the next month.
for the 2 months for November, and
Oh yeah, November.
December.
Yeah, so we're doing, even with the restrictions, we're doing good.
We're close. I think we're gonna be looking in probably next year's budget and purchasing some more water rights.
Yeah,
We've got some money in the kitty for it, so.
definitely just to give us flexibility on that. But this is good. Thanks for reporting this, James.
And that's the pool right there. It's got the days it starts. If you look, in January, we didn't have any restrictions. Come March, we were in that 20%, and then 30, 35, 40, back to 35, up to 40, and now we're back on
We
stage
still in
3.
3?
Yes,
Still in 3?
yes, we went back to 3.
So are we saying we have to make water adjustments based on the increase in population?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
I believe we collect a third of an acre foot.
Because I know it was mentioned once that we use way less than what we're allotted, but because of the increase.
Well, we do, and keep in mind, we've had a lot of construction where they're buying water from the water, so that's raised our pumpage up
Which
too.
puts us.
But we have that water impact fee that you pay for every time they connect, we get a water impact fee. And that's what gets transferred yearly, and you saw it in the budget, it was a lot coming in and then a lot going out. And we'll use that money to purchase more water rights throughout the year. I had someone call me, I don't know, a couple weeks ago and asked if we wanted to lease water rights. I don't want to lease them, I'd rather we buy them and we own them forever. If we were in a hardship and we needed them, then we go lease them enough to get us by, so we don't have to college.
So if we didn't have the water restrictions, we still would have about a third of the water that we have.
And if we didn't have a lot of the construction where they were using, I don't know how much they use per month after James probably does on all that land work for the subdivisions, I mean, we'd still have a pretty good cushion. But we need to stay ahead of the curve, because that acre foot of water gets more and more expensive every year. I think now I heard the going rate is about $6,500 an acre foot. It's not cheap.
So that's why we're gonna be tracking this, so we kind of get a
So
little
we
idea.
expect to see that next one.
Yep.
That's your chart right there. You can see how much we got from the new authorized and the current, how much room we got in there. We got any questions?
Yeah, question. So if the reads are 67 man hours, why is it double for e-reads, 144?
Do we know?
If the meter reads are 67 man hours, why is rereads 144?
I think we got it reversed.
I can answer that. The reason we had a lot of rereads is because this is one of the first bills that went out with the new rates.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people come through and say, hey, I need to go reread my meter. I got a leak, something's wrong. We're like, we go reread, it's the right number. It just, our rates went up. So they're getting used to that new rate.
So they weren't necessarily misreads.
No, they weren't misreads. People just, and if you say, hey, I don't think you're right, when you reread my meter, we're gonna issue a work order, come reread your meter. We've done a lot of those.
I actually think those were reversed.
You think,
I
okay,
think the 144 was.
Should be in the read.
Were the
meter
reads?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I think.
Yeah, because I saw that, yes. It was over double.
And rereads will go down as we continue to get radio reads in there.
Okay, yeah.
Because we'll have it. We had several that I had to have a leak with pump, and we agreed there was a lot of water that moved through it, but there was no leaks. When we have these radio reads, we can go through and say, hey, no, if you go through our system on the 15th, you used a lot of water. What? Oh, I had a party, or dang, I did fill my pool, or something like that.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And this, and council, just for your awareness, nothing within the city, but they have a leak over, if you haven't heard, there's a leak over by the Whataburger C-store. So they've actually been shut down until, they can't operate the restaurant unless they have, be able to have water.
When they expect to have it fixed.
They were down for 5 hours.
Are they back up now?
At 3 o'clock, I had water on.
I talked to them, yeah, let me check. With them. I had talked to them, they were still, the Whataburger wasn't open yet. This was around,
But he fixed it twice, so it should be
yeah,
fixed.
they said they found another leak.
It's not working.
But one,
Fixed the first one and found another one. So just stand by on that.
Even putting enough
Was it
glue on it.
inside their building or? was-
no, it's right outside the meter. The meter.
So
The meter's across the street.
It's in there, it's from the meter.
Or it's after
Oh.
the meter.
Oh, okay, so it's on
They
the,
got a backflow preventer, double check valve, comes up out of the ground, it's right at the base of that.
so what do they do, hire a private owner to come in and fix that?
They tried to, yes, they did. He was notified Friday night, he didn't get there till 10 o'clock this morning.
Okay, but my question is, you guys don't fix that. If it's on their side of the meter,
We notified-
they're responsible for that and they take care of it and they pay for it. Okay, got it.
Okay, yes, thank you.
This is October.
Okay, so let's see, it's 8:10 right now. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. Before we do that, if you guys can join me, he thought he could sneak out. You guys remember, Richie, we didn't get a chance to celebrate Richie's, and I know he loves zebra cake. So this is back on the 31st of October. So here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you.
Cha cha cha.
Happy birthday
To you. Cha cha cha.
Happy
birthday, dear Richie. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
There you go. Hey, he's the first one that is eating it before he even stops singing the song. What is up with that? I mean, he blew the candle and he was into it like crazy. I'm telling you. Now, well, let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break. I'll be good. We'll finish up, and then we'll give Richie an opportunity. We'll give him some energy.
So they're gonna use that area on this or the other?
Back lot.
smaller area?
Turn your mic.
I don't know. For the seniors.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Let's see, 9:29, if you can go ahead and show us that, 8:29, I'm sorry, 8:29, that would have been a good break. That would have been a good break. Hey, kudos, that was some good food, thank
Oh,
you.
yeah. You're gonna eat though, right? I'm gonna take some home.
Well,
I gotta eat on the way home.
some soda.
Well, yes, we like soft drinks, no diet.
What do you want, Dr. Pepper?
Dr. Pepper will be fine. I prefer glass bottles, but we'll settle for a fucking.
Ice cold?
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Refrigerated is okay with you?
That's fine.
Okay, very good. Richie, all yours.
Now, let me see if I can remember how to operate this darn thing. I haven't been up here doing this in a while. Let's see. Okay, so calls for service 254, vehicle collisions, alarm calls. Those numbers are all pretty normal there. Not much to say. Those numbers are about normal. And a lot of citations. Most of those, let's see there. High number would be the speeding, obviously, driver's license related, a little bit of everything there, kind of your typical traffic stuff, I guess.
Richard, let me ask you,
Go
on
ahead.
speeding, since we changed the speed limits in some of those streets, is that reflected here? Is that where you're writing some of these speeding tickets?
Yes, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, I could get that, but we're still seeing a lot of speeders on Somerset Street. South Somerset Street, South Somerset Street, between Main Street going towards, the HEB area.
Right, I think.
So, you could pretty much probably set somebody over there 24 hours a day and they write tickets. You can get them coming and going. 25 is pretty slow for that stretch there, and it's taking people a while, because they were already doing more than 30 to begin with. So, it's just a little more challenged physically, or I actually call it physically stopping vehicles, because there's no shoulders. So you have to kind of go a distance to get them pulled over. But I came through there today, and I was going to a call on the interstate, we got a wreck just south of town. And, one of the reasons I was a little late, but, people were, just as I turned out there, even before I turned my lights on, people were just zooming speed.
Yeah.
So, we put the 25 limit over on, half of Prairie Street, but the other half we still need the signs on. And is there any other streets, Matt, besides, are they all on Benton Street now? And James, do you remember where?
I don't know, man, we just have to do, south part of North Prairie.
South part of North Prairie, like between the football field and the primary, coming back to the railroad track.
Yeah.
So that's really what we're waiting on there, and that'll give us, then we can, do a little more with that in there and see. So yes, some of that would be that, but you could find speeders pretty much, everywhere. They're pretty much everywhere. It's just a matter of, there's only so, there's so much you can do. Of course, when you get the speeders, so what you're stopping people for is stop signs, red lights, speeding, and then the registration, and then that's where you're getting the driver's license related 119, the no insurance, the other stuff, you're getting that, with that.
If you want to deputize me, I'll write 50 tickets a day for
Stop
running
sign?
stop signs
Yes.
from my house.
I just had a guy call me last week about, I think he's on vacation even, he told me about, so we're gonna work on, we're going through some organizational changes, and we're gonna kind of be on a clean slate and try to look at some stuff, but that is an intersection that's been brought to my attention.
A guy with a pickup truck and an empty cattle trailer today blew the sign right out my front door there, coming up North Benton, turning right at Lord Raider with a lot of wisdom. And then he blew the one at North Somerset.
So, my wife, she jogs and walks, and sometimes she forces me to go with her when the kids all don't want to go. And, yes, I walk around your house, I walk around, and I see that, all the time when I'm walking. And I'll call the guy, hey, you sit over here. When you're in a police car, it's a little more challenging. People see you long before you see them. So it is a little more challenging, but I see that as a private citizen who lives here in town, and I see that all the time. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, we have the same problem in Coleman.
It's just, because, so in general, and I don't want to get too long-winded, in general, the majority of people, are just really concerned about where they're going. They're really not, They're not as considerate as they probably should be. They're trying to go a little faster pace than they should be. My gosh, you can't watch the San Antonio news without somebody getting killed over somebody brake checking them or turning in front of them. I mean, it's a terrible, terrible atmosphere on the roadway. David and I were out on 35 today, just a stone's throw from the city limits with an accident. A vehicle rolled over. Lady had a little kid in there in a car seat, another 6, 7-year-old daughter out there. The lady had thrown from the vehicle, and people would barely slow down to where David could get out of the car on his side as we were coming up. I mean, they got somewhere to go, and they're not considerate, and it's just a wonder. I mean, anytime you work, you want an accident on the interstate, you're taking your life in your own hands. 18-wheelers, passenger vehicles, people on the phone, people, talking to people kissing each other. I mean, everything. You sit there and watch it as you drive by. It's really, so yes, I think a lot of it's just the general, people are in a hurry, and it's just a problem that this is just a very small part of a larger issue we have in our world, in our country at this time that I could go into, but I couldn't solve, so I won't. The racial profiling data, again, this week, we do this just so we have it monthly, so we can give it to you for the required report. A lot of that is, there's nothing very real interesting in there, but you can always go through that and look at it. Arrest, it's a lot of side DWI, a little drugs, DWI, some warrants, just some basic stuff. Now, this is back, is this a right report, Matt? Did I give you that? Is this the most recent one I sent you? Yeah. This would be when are we on right now?
This is October.
Is this which report is it? Well, let me look here.
September.
I emailed over hold on. Should we do the October report? Is that what we're supposed to be on?
Yeah.
See if this is the October report then. I sent this, I'm not saying I sent the wrong one. You just picked up the wrong one.
Oh, that's your fault.
Maybe, I don't know. I didn't give y'all this one either, so it really.
Search your pocket here.
See what's on there. You haven't seen this one before either. Where'd it go? Take it down already?
Yeah.
I haven't had it either.
While you're doing that, Richie, we got any more problem with catalytic converter stuff?
Not in the last several weeks, no, sir. See if it's at the very bottom there. We're in October.
October, no,
Yeah. Yeah, that should be it.
October 10th?
Well, it's the 10th month.
Yeah, 10th
Since
month.
they
Yeah.
modified the second of
Yeah.
November, that's probably it.
That was right before I sent it out in November. It's all the same, just the numbers changed, really. I could have probably given you a report 5 years ago and looked the same, because the same officer, same stuff, we hadn't really had any big major changes. I always carry a backup with me, whenever, in case I'm at home and I wanted to look at some stuff. Okay, back again here. All right, let's start over. My time, restart my time. We got this, That's not the same thing? No, random that's 15, driver's license related is 50. Last time we had 100 and something. So 305 issued there. Again, the same kind of stuff. A few more vehicle registrations. Oh, National Night Out. We had our National Night Out in October. It was fun and everybody had a good time. We hadn't done it in 2 years because of COVID. So I think everybody enjoyed that. That's my family down there on the right. Luke, Joy, Grace, my wife, and Benji. Anyway, there we are. And there's some more people. There's some policemen, Frank and Joe. Pictures there. Danny threw all his pictures in there. That's me cleaning up afterwards. I'm kind of like that first in, last out kind of guy. This is the way I've always lived my life. Adult arrest, same stuff. Warrants, DWIs, theft, right, regular motor vehicle, drug paraphernalia, arson, warrants. Unauthorized use of motor vehicles, stolen gun, stolen lady, and stolen vehicle, drug paraphernalia. No juvenile arrest. Juvenile crime is really not much of a thing anymore. I don't know why. I think kids are too occupied on the internet and social media to really get out and commit crimes. I don't know. But we don't take hardly any reports of juvenile related crime anymore. at least, you know, the school may have some, but we don't deal with anything out on the streets. Identity theft, financial fraud, burglaries, some tools taken from North Pecan, many towards burglary, and, somebody spray painted the stop sign on the Reed Foster Way. That's, you know, HEB plants and trees, we did actually make an arrest on that. What do we have here? Diesel, that's from a construction site out there, vehicles, Lava Crossing that's a vehicle parked at the old Bales, they had a catalytic converter theft, probably Furon had one, Mini Storage had one. Shoplifting, we covered stolen vehicles, there's 3 catalytic converter thefts last month, we probably might have had 1 or 2 this month, you know. Those things that I read, of course, nationally, I mean, they're just going wild with catalytic converter thefts. I mean, it's just, there's actually, I read TML, they've got, some of those, they're trying to get some legislation, make it illegal to possess one unless you've got, you know, you're actually a person who's installing it or whatever. Cause see, the problem is, we stop somebody now, they got 2 or 3 catalytic converters, can't do nothing with it. You know they cut them off, you know you just kind of stuck. So maybe the legislature will give us some tools to help, you know, change some. So we had National Night Out, guys, the head department had meeting, Mercy Hendrick meeting. Not a fair lot there. First responder breakfast. We did some, of course, escorting some band and whatever. That Sunday the 16th, International Association of Police Chiefs this year happened to be in Dallas, which it hadn't been there probably in 10 or 15 years. So with Frank and Matt and David and I made a weekend of it. We went up among some, did a little personal trip and went up and visited his family in Oklahoma in Durant, Choctaw friends of ours. And then we came back and went to the expo that day. That was, you know, if Ernie Crow was here, he would have been with us. Career day at the primary, Danny got stuck up there. I guess a bunch of people didn't show up, so I think he did 4, 5, 6 classes up there, gave a little spill. And then we escorted the band, so a lot going on there. The band back in, that was like at 2 something in the morning, I wasn't there.
Just right before 3.
So, how many times did guys on night shift escort the band? They thought we all got all that stuff, they got get a little action there. Pumpkin party at the Methodist Church, Danny and they stopped by there. Cross-country team escort. So we had this company come out, this guy lives in Lakeshore, and he said he would, it's been going on for a while, he said he'd volunteer to seal coat the PD, and, you know, he did. And that was the before picture there, that the parking lot had not been seal coated, it hadn't been seal coated ever, since we moved in 2015, I believe, May of 2015. And so, you know, we ferried the vehicles around. He did the front one time and the back, restriped everything. I mean, I don't know, I think he said about $8,000 or $10,000 gig. Had to be because he had crews there for several days. I mean, it wasn't anything he just did in one morning. But so now our parking lot looks nice and everything. And, you know, seal coating it just in case you're not, I mean, I've had this with parking lot. You know, basically, coats it, seals it to where the water doesn't get underneath. That's what destroys our roads and things is water. Right, James? Is that what you think? Kind of what seal coat does? That's the purpose of it? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a road guy, but it looks better. Good pictures and nothing else. That's a brand new there. Did we just start we just had one time sheet where we started on October 1. So we do have a lady volunteering at the police department now. She's retired. She lives out in Saddle Ridge, and she's been volunteering 2 or 3 days a week. She helps us for a few hours with admin stuff. Today she's really, I mean, she got a lot of energy though, and kind of always, you know, gets me to do stuff. So it's working out pretty good. She hasn't brought us any food yet, so that may be the only drawback. But reserve officers. Joe came in, I got Ozy Mark coming in this week. Is that everything? That's it.
She's a good person, retired Air Force.
Nice lady. And, you know, so we've been, so Frank retired, of course, we were working on that. We've kind of got to reorganize, replan, reshuffle, you know, when we look at like when Matt left, really all, it's kind of, it's sad, you know, you think, well, I'm losing Matt. Or you think, well, of course, he's still kind of here, so he's kind of like partially lost. And, but, you know, it really, what it does is it really forces you to adapt and not get complacent when you have people coming and going, you know, and having to adapt. Because the problem is the citizens out there, the same stuff, our calls keep rolling in no matter who's here. If I leave tomorrow, if I die in my sleep tonight, somebody's got to come in tomorrow and people are going to need the police, you know, and that's what, so we have to be prepared. And I think we've done a good job of that, and we got dedicated people, and we'll be moving forward.
So are you advertising already?
No. We probably, so what we got to do, I lost a captain and a lieutenant. So what I've got to do, I've got to determine, do I have the internal talent and the people that want that to absorb those positions, you know, and hire patrolmen? Or after 2 or 3 months, I say, look, we can do this without having to bring in higher paid administrative people from, you know, with experience to take positions. Or I'm gonna say, look, this is not working. We are gonna have to maybe hire 1 patrolman and a captain, or 1 lieutenant and an assistant chief, or, you know, whatever you get to put us back where we were. So that's kind of how we look at it. That's kind of how we're gonna play it out. I want to give our current staff a chance to see what, you know, to make sure we see what happens, you know. Plan, and it may work.
How many reserve officers do you have?
Well, reserves, I just have, Matt, I have Mark Montgomery, who's been gone out to pitch for a while, he's back in Wednesday, and I got Joe Torres. But, you know, those guys are limited. I mean, unfortunately, in the world of law enforcement, hiring people has changed so much in the last 10 years. I mean, it's very difficult. I used to have people coming out of the woodwork, you know, looking for reserve jobs and things like that. Now the only ones you get, they work side jobs doing road construction. They just want they want to come here and work, you know, a day over a couple of weeks, and then they work these, use your commission and do security stuff, which that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that are, you know, want to be public servant type people. So it's not, and of course Matt can tell you, he's been right there in the trenches with me on it. I mean, it's just those people, as the state has elevated the requirements for peace officers. They've elevated the training requirements, and it's driven a lot of people that were, you know, kind of part-time. It's pushed them out of it because it's too much to keep up, you know. So, you know.
Because I know in the past you brought them up, you know, in the sense of that.
Sure, but I don't have anybody, unfortunately, I don't have anybody looking for work. That's the one I've got is retired, the other guy's an assistant fire chief in a big large department in Bear County with about 100 guys. And how many stations they got? 5? I mean, so I don't have that. We are looking. I have attempted to get some people in, but those have not successfully, the last 3 I've attempted have not successfully, it has not materialized. Let's just, you know, probably the appropriate name. It just hasn't materialized, not for various reasons, you know. So we have tried. 3 is what we've done in the last 6 months. We've tried to process it, and we're still hanging on 1 or so, but it's not materializing as we hoped it would. Because as we work, then the people we're dealing with, you know, their life situations change. You have a guy who may be looking to come on here to reserve, and then all of a sudden, you know, my wife's pregnant, or, you know, my wife got a new job, and I'm going to have to do this. So, I mean, you're constantly trying to find, and part-time is the same way. I mean, whether you're paying them or not is really not the issue. It's a matter of finding someone that has the, in a perfect world, you would have some retired people, maybe, that were looking to work. But no matter which side of the political spectrum you sit on, being a policeman is not a very, there's a lot of people that see that as not a very good career path to be in because of some of social things going on, political things going on. People are just avoiding, you know, those type of positions. And that's why when I started as a police chief here 23 years ago, for a job that didn't pay nothing, we would have 25 applicants. Matt remembers in this room here, 15, 20 people taking a test for a job that paid $18,000 a year. Now, we advertise for a job that pays $45,000 a year, and we get 2. So we've been very fortunate. We've maintained people. We have a good core group of people still. We are all in law enforcement, whether you pay $80,000 a year or $30,000 a year. Everyone is looking for applicants. I could just go on and on. We've researched it all across the state, and but we think we shouldn't have any trouble with what we're doing here. shouldn't be affecting any kind of service here. It's just a matter of, really kind of not making any jumping into something unless I know exactly what I'm getting into. That's kind of where we are. That's just kind of my take on the situation. Any questions?
Thank you, Richie. Appreciate it.
Now I'm gonna eat this. I want to go to Wayne's.
The rest of us are ready. Okay, Lynette, here we go.
I gave y'all a budget report. I wish I could have sent that to you a little bit sooner, but I just got done with it right before the meeting. So the first of all that would on the totals on the revenue and stuff, Paul will touch a little bit more on that, but you'll see that we're doing really good with our taxes. So, she's already got over half collected, so she's done really well. But she can answer more details on that when she comes in. If you jump down all the way to hotel tax, about almost halfway down the page, you'll see that we're a little bit short on that. I'm sure y'all know that the hotel was sold to a man from California. California? And there was a lag in payment, so we've only got 1 month in so far. So we lost a month of payment from the prior. So I'm a little bit behind on here. Franchise tax is doing really well. If you see, we're already at 59,000. I'm very happy with that. Even though Matt and I were looking today that we're a little bit behind compared to what we were last year, and I think the economy is driving that. Our city sales tax is doing okay, but again, if you look at last year's comparables, we're a little bit low. What was it, Matt, last year? Do you remember if we were looking
For the month,
for the sales tax? We were. Last
we were
year's-
probably, last year's,
I think it was like
Almost 30,000.
30,000. I think it was at around a $30,000 difference. So we're a little bit short compared to what we were last year. So just look through that real quick. I know I just handed you a ton of stuff, but if you have any questions about anything, just ask.
Now, this is for the whole fiscal year, so we're talking about,
No, this is just for 2023. This is October and November of this current fiscal.
okay,
This is on the new budget year.
so, correct. So if I look at this, I'm looking at what we budgeted. This is what we budgeted from October to September of next year.
Yes.
So the difference that we're showing in there is basically the offset from the whole year.
On the variance, yes.
Yeah.
That's gonna
So
be
I just want you to, so you
Yeah,
see
on the negative.
parentheses, that's the whole year.
Yeah, so if
So-
you look at the top, it's for period ended 9/30/2023. So this is just 2 months worth of fiscal activity contributed there. One thing we have increased on is the community center. We've been booking that a lot. It's booked out pretty much till when? Like January?
So far, we have one
the one in February.
Yeah, so it's pretty big. So we're using that a lot more now that we let more people come in with it.
Good.
The one thing I do want to hit on is the fines. We budgeted 308,000. In 2 months, we've already made 82,000 on that. So having that extra court clerk in there that's calling and reminding people that they have warrants, so they have fines, has helped a lot. We've been having double court, as y'all know. That's helped a little bit. To be honest, it's only been bringing in about 12 or 15,000 every time we have court. That's the numbers that have been coming in. But it's still helping to relieve what's out there.
That's a third. You're already looking at,
Yeah.
you're already at a third.
The girls
for
have
the whole
really,
year.
really been doing really well.
Yeah.
Yes, they're
That's
doing really
awesome.
well. Matt had actually working on warrants there for a little bit. We had to pull her off of it. She was working on past warrants and making phone calls and doing that kind of stuff. And so she was bringing a little bit more money. Just letting people, hey, this hasn't been forgotten about. You need to pay it. And then, of course, we get the people that can't renew their driver's license and have to pay immediately to get their driver's license and all that to remedy. The rest of that's just the typical stuff that's coming in. There is nothing that I'm concerned about at this time. Let me see. I haven't sent any of this out to the department head yet. Like I said, I was just able to complete this today. Matt and I were still tweaking a little bit on getting the budget in there. We had some numbers that we were looking at. I needed him to double check and we were just, making sure it was 100% right. So they haven't got their revenues and their expenses yet to look at.
On the hotel tax?
Yes.
You mentioned that this was monthly, that would be missed.
There was 1 month during the transition of the sale that I only got around 4,800 in,
So their option is monthly, quarterly,
monthly, quarterly, yeah. And
so
so,
there's no penalties for not paying the hotel tax if they're behind. Okay.
so I don't know if we're going to get that residual or how it was going to be applied on the books, because I don't know when the sale actually was complete.
Right.
So, Lynette, I noticed in the second page, it's a few down insurance,
What are we looking at?
the 6,300 that was budgeted.
Under
and
600, they give you that 100?
Yeah,
Or 20s?
so it's a 100, it's the second page.
Okay,
And it's a 6730 insurance budgeted for 6,300. The actual activity is 17, but also notice further down in insurance, it's the same. No, one is a 22. Insurance budgeted 18 and we're at 36. So we've had higher expenditures
so you
on,
gotta remember, we pay our insurance and our workers' comp and stuff in bulk. So a lot of that was there was an increase, and we split that out absolutely correctly this time, and that's gonna be part of the budget amendment.
so that's where I was going. Okay,
Yes.
so we'll need
So
to make amendments
when-
on that
When
insurance.
Matt had the new bills come in, I literally went line item by person and broke it up based upon the way it should be, so we know exactly how much department is costing us.
Budget that.
And I can give that breakout to y'all as well.
That's,
So there are gonna be budget amendments done to this, that was gonna tell you all that in my upcoming. This is something that Matt and I are gonna start going over as soon as things settle down from the holidays. You don't see anything else?
Council? Anything? Things out. Each department doing good overall, and just looking across the board.
We're doing okay. I mean, everything that I'm looking in, and like I said, I don't have any looking at it. Libraries coming in, I'm seeing some fluctuations, and donations for the fire department. You know, with the economy getting a little bit, harder on people, they're not donating as much. Granted, that is a wash. Donations to animal control or donations to library, they've also dropped a little bit, but I expected it.
So y'all were talking about utilities.
Yes.
I know my utility bill was like 10% more.
Mhm.
What's the overall, you get a lot of calls you were saying on those?
We have had more calls than normal asking about rate increase, and Liza and Virginia have been wonderful about explaining that we had to go up on a little bit of our rates. The majority, I would say 95% of the people took it very well, but they understood. And still reminding people that we are the lowest in any surrounding area, that we kept it as low as we possibly could.
The biggest thing with that for us to communicate is just let them know we're just trying to cover the expenses for us to run the system, because we're way below where we should be.
I remember in the past meetings, Matt was explaining to y'all, we were taking a hit in gas once we really put the numbers there. We were paying out of our pockets for some of this.
Awesome.
So you're more than welcome to go through these, and if you have any questions, email me or call me. But I do want to touch on just the monthly stuff as well. For the garbage, we have 1,548 clients for garbage. We brought in 55,000 for that, which we are seeing an increase in that. We have 347 gas clients now. It dropped a little bit Why is gas dropping, James?
With that.
Why is gas dropping? How come we lost them? You know, yeah, I'd have to check into that, but we lost like 20 out of that. We built 7,000. For the sewer, we have 856 that we built for, we built 33,000, so we're doing really well there. But then, like I said, the animal donations, like for the month, I only got $121, which normally we get about double that. And then for the library donations, for Cassandra, we only booked 172. In the past, it's been around 300, 400. And then for fire department donations, we were doing 1,500 to 1,700 in the past. The donations only came in at 1,045. We got 37 new meters put in, as James told you. Those are all the new master meter reads. We had about a 2-week fiasco of master meter. I can tell you I'm a pro at it now. Matt and I were out running master meters. It was kind of interesting, but we have it 100% under control and it's working great. So I had everything programmed. The program for master meter is very, very tricky. It's a TXT file that has to read over to master meter from Encode, our accounting software. And once I reprogrammed everything to work, I gave it to Pete, he went and ran it, there was only one that didn't pick up. So out of 267, 276, they did roll.
Is that what we're up to?
So-
760 something meters?
So once we can do that, it is gonna cut Virginia's time tremendously for these inputs. And we did have a couple of rereads, but that's only because it's high. But I programmed the machine that when you drive by it now, it will tell you, and that, say Pete drives by somebody in Saddle Ridge, it'll alert them now, and it will say high read, where he can get out and check it at that time, where we don't have to go work order, and he can do it as he goes. Which we haven't started that yet, but that's in the process.
Are you working with the supplier at all on the software?
I talked to him for about 30 minutes, and he sent me all the data files that I wanted to read, and once I told him I had it, that we're good.
They're cooperating, helping you out?
Oh, he was great, yeah, I finally talked to the programmer.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he was great. So now we've got everything under control, I've got them inputting a little comma or a period or a slash will mess everything up in the
Yeah.
system. So now that Virginia understands what to do with that, I think it'll run a whole lot smoother next time. So, we had 23 disconnects, all of them were reconnects, most of them were sell houses or houses to be sold. So upcoming, Ashley, the court clerk is going to court training. She leaves on Wednesday. She'll be there Thursday and Friday. That completes her CEs, and she can take her court clerk 1. And it'll be the first time the city's had a certified court clerk in quite some time. I told you about the budget adjustments. That's something that Matt and I are gonna work on in the future. We have an audit coming up, okay? It's supposed to start the second week of December. I'm still waiting to hear back from Deb. As far as I know, everything's still in the works. And then for future, Matt and I were talking about cross-training, and I hate to tell Paula, but I think she's gonna be the person that gets cross-trained through some of the finance stuff to make her happy. And that's all I have, unless y'all have questions.
Okay. Thank you so much, appreciate it, Lynette. A lot of hard work with a lot of this stuff, but I think this coming year, we got things lined up a lot better.
Next year is gonna be even better. Matt and I need one good budget year. And after that, it'll be a lot smoother, because I'm very, very picky where stuff goes in here now.
Oh, this is awesome. Thank you so much for the update. All right, Paula, all yours. You got slides or?
Okay.
All right.
Hello. So total permits for October were 6. We had 3 other storage sheds, replacing material, irrigation system, I think that one was a salvage, and then a fence with a solar system. Building inspection, we had 25, 1 for plan review, payment, electrical, and the AC work were 15. The drive and walkway were 2, the people was 1, and the 6 that were final. All finals were, I think, at Savage. 12 inspections for the plumbing were 18. 1 fence review, 2 out there, 7 popped out, 6 were 2 final. Those 2 final been Savage. October is for all, well, I was able to send all the taxes out a little late, so we were able to get them out. We collected $387,442.81 on the adult taxes for the month of October. So far for this month, we're kind of getting number 2, so we're collecting a lot. It's coming in, everybody's coming in early, always paying early. They don't want to pay late.
And you guys made an adjustment too with the early opportunity, right? In the sense of did you, John? So
Yeah,
you-
yeah,
you
follow
give
it.
them-
Yes, we did. Because they were sent out, later about the 20th, so we were able to do all that for.
Yeah, I know a lot of people,
A lot of
wanted
people were
to.
coming in early to try to pay them, and it was rough. And I don't have a lot of, I mean, that's all I have in this. I want to try to, we started doing our, decorating around the city. It's been kind of hard, but we're getting there. Hopefully we'll get it done next week. So I'll have James kind of finishing up all that. Because we are gonna have our, of course, our dinner, and it should be done by then. Maybe all that should be done.
But you guys have a lot. I drove by the community center and I've seen, there's a lot of neat decorations gonna go up, so that's good.
Yes, it was kind of overwhelming at first to see all those decorations. But I think, it's gone
But
better.
we always had a lot of reserve.
Yes.
We've always had, so.
I know that the visitors will be here on Wednesday, we're gonna fix up for the casino on next year. So, I think that's the other place. The next one will be like Daily Home, so we should be done by Friday, we're trying all the way. That was his question.
No, this is good. We get everybody excited for the lights and everything. People have been asking, it's like, it's all surprise, so just hang in.
I think that's the route, right, so that we can kind of see, everybody can see where we want everybody to kind of buy their houses.
We're encouraging folks,
Yes.
yeah, the people in the houses, not only decoration and the businesses along the route, but also for them to be out there.
Yes.
You know, I've talked to a few businesses and they're gonna be out there. We want people to be cheering each other out along the route, so be out there and do something, so. And there's some pretty neat ideas. Stand by. And some of these folks are getting very creative in what they're gonna do out there.
Maybe they can do like Honda, but have all the billboards. Oh, and that.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm letting them figure out what they wanna do, but there's some pretty neat ideas of things that they wanna do for our riders, so stay tuned.
Nice.
Some surprises, it'll be good. See what they come up with.
Is the permitting software online?
Yeah, well, we're trying to get that done, it'll be done. Well, we'll do a training about this next month, and then hopefully January.
We'll go live with it after that.
And then historical should take some time to fill all that in, or you?
No, we are not gonna
do
put historical in there. I don't wanna waste time with
On this
maybe
way forward.
taking bad data, but we're gonna move clear forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paula gets me some soap, or maybe some snow, but to get you house and firehouse for that report. Before I start, I'm gonna cover, so many of you may know we had a snafu with our trash collection after Thanksgiving. It was supposed to be on Thanksgiving, that was the holiday, so it went to Friday. So I followed up with Waste Management, asked for a written report on what occurred today. I can read you the whole thing, but I'm a cliff notes. They said they had 10 guys scheduled to come in on Friday. All of them were trained in ABL, which is the truck telling them where to drive the routes. Of course, not all 10 guys showed up. The on-call route manager, decided to call in some extra guys that weren't trained in ABL and weren't very familiar with the areas they were going to, and said, peace be with you, I guess. And did not call their upper management to say, this is the choice I made, to then notify all of us. Of course, that caused a snafu of several streets being missed and garbage not being picked up in a timely fashion because they weren't efficient. One is we didn't get the mechanical truck that comes out that's really efficient. We got a truck and 2 guys, didn't know the area, and made it really less efficient. Then they sent some more people out on Saturday to help finish up some of that. I don't think they got it all done. in total, they said they did miss a total of 6 streets, which was North Benton, Easy, Dehannes, Poco, Houston, and North Bank. They said they sent the truck out today. They drove the entire city and picked up any trash cans that were still out. But I'm sure most of you, like anybody else, said, hey, they didn't come and just pulled their trash up to their house. So I'm gonna work with the mayor, and they've offered a couple solutions to us, and I'll work with the mayor on what's the best one on to remedy this. One would be within reason, the residents can set whatever trash out and they'll just pick everything up to the cart to include a bag or two, within reason, of course. Or we say, you know, these are the 6 streets, you pick up everything on that street. I don't know. We'll work with the mayor, work what's best for our residents. Waste management, I explained to them, we just signed a new 5-year contract in like the first month, we've already had 2 snafus. We cannot have this anymore, you know? So I'll get with the mayor before I leave tonight and text our point of contact on that. So we're gonna talk about the 8.5 million. We're gonna start tracking this, right? That's the 8.5 million we took out a loan for. 1 million was for streets and sidewalks. To date, we have already spent 386,710 for the sidewalk grant. That is a one-time payment to them, and TxDOT, when 2023 rolls around, the funding lets for that. They'll start to bid that contract and we'll go from there. Hopefully there's no major overages, because if so, we'll have to come back and revisit that total number, but so hopefully good. So that leaves us a remainder of $616,290 for street repairs. We have to use an engineer. So years past, when we did street paving, we ourselves as the council put it out and said, we want these streets paved, give us a cost. Unfortunately, that was over the $20,000 rule and should have been overseen by an engineer. Why at the time our attorney let us do that, I don't know, but here we are today. So we reached out to our engineer, and they said it would cost they'll be here for them. It's gonna be $21,365 for them to oversee that project, bid the project, let it, do the do everything, right? So that leaves us roughly $594,000 for street paving this year. That's tons more than we've ever done. Last year we did $275,000, for example. So start getting some ideas on streets. We'll work with our engineers. I know we've got one already in mind that we've talked about, put on the list. Give us some ideas on some other ones, so then we can go out and look at them with the engineers and really make an informed decision on what streets probably need to have the retopping done. The engineer's not gonna do major work, right? It's just, hey, come in, this is what, 2 inches of asphalt, or whatever it is, and that's what they're gonna work on. That leaves us 7.5 million of the 8.5 for water and sewer. Anticipated expenses is 1.4, I got it today, it's a little over 1.4 million for the sewer plant expansion, just the plans. The engineer drew up the plans for all that. Leaves us roughly 6.1 million for the water system improvements. Those improvements were a new booster pump, the 12-inch loop that runs from back over here and then runs through town and connects up to 35, which then gives us a true loop system, 12-inch line loop system around the town, and a new water tank over behind the Lotto State Bank. My goal, since it's on 35, is to have it kind of a showpiece for us. So I'm not looking for the typical metal water tanks we have currently. I'm looking for that newer style that's got the concrete kind of pour, and then it's a metal bowl on top, but it's a nicer look, and then up top it would have our decals on it, have lights on it. When you're driving down 35, you're gonna see it and say there's Lotto Texas. That's what I'm looking for. Hopefully we can afford it. Planning and zoning, we still have the Lotto Farms Unit 1. I got a call today. The only thing they're pending is the TxDOT approval for their 12-inch main that runs in the TxDOT right-of-way. TRC has said that everything else they reviewed and answered back conforms to our codes from best they can tell. So like we did on the other one, he's gonna write up a letter and release it to allow construction when they want, with the caveat of if something because TxDOT can take up to 6 months to approve that. If something in that TxDOT right-of-way changes anything that we've approved here, it's gonna trump that, and you're gonna have to come back and fix it if we find that it trumps something. So, and they know that's exactly what we did with Rosewood. Saddle Ridge 2 and 5 and a lot of mobile home park, they're still moving forward with everything there. I changed this up to not have so much data, but Saddle Ridge, again, it's 392 homes in 6 phases. 2 of 6 are completed with homes being constructed. phase 1 is 69 homes. We still have 18 of the 69 lots that are in the home builder's name as far as the water meters. That kind of gives you a plan on that. They did talk to Paula and anticipate pulling 9 new permits in the near future over there, so we're gonna start rolling again on that. There's your current picture. So the top green section, that's your phase 1. To the, I don't know if the pointer's gonna work. No. To the right of that is your phase 6, and then the bottom 2 phases are your 2 and 5. That's what they're working on now, putting in all your sewer. I think the water sewer's in and they're doing drainage now, right, James? Is that what they're working on over there? I think that's where they're at. Rosewood's 540 homes, 3 phases. Phase 1 of 3 is under construction. They're installing the water and sewer. Of course, they had that delay with the rock over there. Lytle Farms, it's still in review. We just talked about that, and I think we have a meeting with them on their pit coming up this week. I think it. There's a current picture today of what it looked like. To the right is 2790. So to the left is your Rosewood Estate, and that's just phase 1. So you can see how large of a subdivision just that alone is going to be there. Open projects, we are working, so streetlights at that 15516 Main Street, we started with just that, and then there was an open ticket where they were supposed to light that south end of town. The mayor and I met with them, they've done some studies, and they've come back with a plan that would light from Gray Street all the way down to Cortez Road. So all of that, and it's gonna be, and they were able to light up the road where they need the specs they need to be. So we're
very
moving,
dark in that area.
yeah, so we're moving forward with that, and it's gonna be, I think it should make everyone happy there, to include the police. You're gonna be able to see more pedestrians walking, stuff like that. Speed limit signs over Somerset Cottage, again, we stuck, James and them stuck the temporary signs up, or not temporary, they're the signs, but they're stuck up on the old poles. They did go get the new breakaway mounts a week or 2 ago, so they'll work on eventually getting all the permanent poles with the breakaway mounts up. He's still working on the North Somerset Street, that roadway fill where the bollards are across from the park. So he's still got to get the pressure treated wood. He's going to remeasure all that to get the right size pressure treated wood. Then they'll come back in and they'll build that roadway in so we don't have that sharp dip between the road and that. We'll get started on that soon. 6843, the road was closed today. I'm going to have you some pictures of that. And then the drainage projects there. The open contracts, we keep going through there. The only big one to touch on right now is the city yard maintenance. We'll go ahead and rebid that in December to get the new contracts out. Updates, you can go through those as you. The biggest one is that top one though. We've always talked about the foundation at the community center. Everybody says it's broke, we need to do something, we need to do this, we don't know how much it's gonna cost. I called the company for a free estimate. That is the cost to fix the foundation in the community, $66,940. That's Olshan Foundation Repairs. It's a reputable company. On the side from the center of the building, on the side where the street is, it's dropped 2 inches, and on the back side, it's 1 inch. A lot of it is just the building settling and the trees starved in the foundation for water. We have those really big trees up front, and it's been really dry, and they're just starving the foundation, so they're drawing all that water out from the building, so that's important. But that's what it would cost to fix it, to fix the slab, and then from there we can figure out the actual building. We can't do anything with the building until we fix the slab. We do have a CD that the one yours gave us years ago that is earmarked for just that, and it has $160,000-ish in it. Good news. So we can move forward from there. Numerous meetings there. Like I said, you can go through all that there. I did leave that disconnect for the idle meters on there, the water and gas from last month, just so I could touch base with you. So we're getting all the addresses located, mailing addresses. So that way I can send out a letter to them and say, hey, your location's been identified as a location that either has a water or gas meter that is considered idle and you don't get a bill. Our rules change. Here's what they are. Do you want it? Call us. If you don't, come in and get it disconnected. Water's simple, right? I can just send James out there. They can go make the disconnection and we're done. Gas is not as simple. There's a cost for CPS to come out and disconnect their meter. So if we move in that direction, that's going to be phased in over time because that's the budgetary item. I'll be honest with you, I didn't anticipate. I thought, well, just disconnect the meter, but we can't do anything. It's got to be CPS, and CPS is going to charge us, and apparently it's a pretty hefty cost to do those. We'll work forward with that. Maybe we put, I don't know, maybe we lock them out, and then the guys just drive by and hey, the lock's there, we're going to have to go read a meter. Pictures. There's your 6843, okay? I don't remember, we cleaned all that trash out. There's your trash. So let's take a little flight here. I don't know. Can you get a play on that one at the bottom? I took my drone out today, far left. Or not?
Hang on, I'm gonna go to your actual phone.
No, it's in the report.
It will. Is this it?
Yeah, don't click it.
It don't, you want?
Bring it
Bring
back
it back
to
to
the slideshow first. There you go.
This one?
Yeah, click on that, on the slide.
I did?
And then on the bottom left.
Ah, there you go.
Sorry.
Perfect.
Might tell you it looks worse in person, you know.
Big bucks, no whammies, I guess.
So this is on our side, right?
Yeah, this is on our side, so the video's not playing, I can see. But as I flew down that road, and it's overrun with just grass and everything growing on it, but the trash is tremendous again. The tires are tremendous, they're all over again.
I see
Oh, there
that
it goes, there it goes, here we go. So I flew it kind of quick because my battery was dying, but you'll start to see on both sides of the road. And that all on the right used to be full of water at one point. So you can start to see the trash littering in there. Now we're gonna get to where all the heavy stuff is. We've got mattresses all out there again, all the trash, tires.
Not exactly something John Denver was saying about. Terrible.
Is there a big chunk of tires?
There's a
Oh,
bunch
yeah.
of tires. You can look at all that.
Cause there, I could hear the dump trucks back there.
I didn't see that, so play that one real quick, if it'll play for you.
Dump trucks?
Yeah, you can hear
I think.
right across from my house.
Oh,
Right
that,
there. I don't know what you're doing.
But if you're hearing them like that, it might be the commercial dumpsters on some of those businesses right there. Cause that's usually,
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's really,
perfect play. But you can see there, that, I mean, I kind of just flew a little ways out, but you can see the amount of trash on either side of that road again. It is just overrun with trash. But, oh, here we go.
so I noticed in the other video, Matt, because I never was able to see, and I guess in the winter we'll be able to see more because the leaves will fall. But I noticed a bunch of, there was trucks on the left-hand side, so those property owners. Did we ever reach out, and this is before you, but do we know if we ever reached out to those property owners and told them, hey, this is your responsibility on their property?
I don't know about that, that's before me.
now which trucks you're talking about?
You go back to the other slide.
Cause that's on, there's some on the, in the county part, I know.
Right here, okay, no, go back, okay, see the trucks on the
On the
left?
left, yeah.
That's the property owner, right? So we were supposed to talk to all those property owners on that side and find out how far our responsibility was to clean it, and then the rest of them, we're gonna tell those property owners that they need to clean it, it's their property.
I think we got a 50-foot easement in our way.
Yeah, that's the thing, we were trying to find out how much the easement was, so we figure out where our line is, that is our responsibility, and what is their responsibility.
And what portion of their property is within the incorporated city limits and what isn't out in the county.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, I can look at it and see and just go from there.
I mean, what you guys are doing is gonna stop if we actually have it. But eventually, after we clean it, we're gonna have to tell those property owners on both sides, hey, this is your
Your
responsibility.
responsibility to clean it.
So just kind of keep that back in
So
mind.
that is what, on our side, this is what it looks like currently. So behind our two barricades is another piece of, guardrail for temporary use. Myself and Officer David Lopez, we were out there today taking measurements. I ordered some weld-on hinges, and Dave and I will construct a fence and go out there and install it ourselves. I've tried to get a couple welders, but at this point, I'm not gonna pay somebody. We'll buy the metal, and David and I will work on it ourselves one day. So eventually, we'll have a swing gate, one big gate that swings open, and on that gate, we'll have reflective material mounted on it. That way people will see it. We've got signs ordered, so at that intersection, you'll have signs on outside of the road that says road closed, and going back before that, signs that say road closed ahead. So it'll be well marked. The other side, Medina County permanently, they've got it permanently closed with barrier, yeah,
So that's guardrail, all the way on both sides?
yes. There is no driving a car on
That's
either
what,
side of that.
that's what Medina County helped us out with.
Yes, they were out there today doing it, yes, sir. So Medina County supplied, other than our guys set the 2 metal poles on either side of the barricade and 2 more on the far side. We went out today with our tractor and drilled some more holes, and they put some wooden bollards, and then they installed all the guardrails. Like I said, there is no driving either side of that road to get past. If you're gonna get down that road, you're gonna bust through our gate, or you're gonna cut a line, once we put the gate up.
How far is it from this gate to a road or something up this way?
From that gate, that picture's taken probably just in from the intersection. So where the road sets, there's a cross street about just behind where Pete was standing when he took that picture.
So there's no issue, there's, you know, we
There's no
looked at
issue with
that. There's no
access.
issue with them, you know, getting caught down there at a dead end.
No, yeah, no, I mean, it's right there.
What I was leading to is, we're gonna have people just pulling up here saying, oh, nuts, and dumping it right there in front of that.
So just to the right of that photo is a house,
Yeah.
and just to the left is a house. That it's all cleared open. I mean, they can see them. So if they were gonna do that, they would probably be doing it now. That dumping would be closer to those houses. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But now they're gonna stop there and be like, it'd be like me stopping in front of your house going, man, I wanna dump this trash real quick, hoping nobody sees me.
That's on the county side, right?
That is our side.
No, this is our side right here.
That's our side right there.
Where you get, 6840.
6843 just passed. 6842 is a cross street, and we're just up from that on 6843.
It's right at the T right there.
The other side, that's, county.
Yeah, the other side's county, and it's permanently blocked, so there's no getting through that one.
So when you say again, this is the first cleanup after putting up the road barrier.
Yes, the city paid Waste Management
1,700.
a year ago, or
Yeah.
2 years, to go out there and clean up everything. They pulled 200 some odd tires out of there, James, y'all did, right?
125.
125 tires,
Right.
and then
Prior to the road closure.
prior to the road
Yeah.
closure.
No.
And I can tell you, it's just as dirty, if not a little
Right.
dirtier
So
now.
now we have the road closure, we're gonna do our first cleanup. Or we're
Well, yeah,
doing-
we'll work on schedule. I was talking to Pete today, and I think once we can get caught up, right? We'll get with James out there, we can work with Waste Management for maybe a couple roll-offs they can leave out there. And with the 2 machines we have now, with the grapple arm we bought for the new one, the backhoe, James can maybe use these swing arms to kind of pull some of this stuff up, and then we can use the grapple to pick it up and throw it in the dumpster. And then we can pick out tires as we're moving along.
And once all of that's clean and it's blocked in both ends, are we gonna just let the road go back to nature? It's a sand road, a dirt road, right?
Yeah, it's just a caliche dam type road, so
So you're not gonna maintain that road anyway.
no, I don't anticipate.
No,
it.
Eventually it'll
So-
blow over, right?
So the county and the city, the agreement that we signed is basically, they gave up all rights for any kind of maintenance. Technically, that's a county road. They gave all maintenance up because of the closure. That's how they formally do it. So there's no maintenance required on that. The only maintenance that we would need to provide is for us to have access to it. That's it. It's not for public, it's not for anybody else.
Now, do we need to mark that, this is kind of mine, do we need to mark, because pedestrians can get through there. Do we need to mark that as no trespassing or something?
Yeah, we put some, when we go to Bailey signs for the other signs, we'll just get a couple no trespassing signs up and post them up there too.
Yeah, good call.
We got.
Cause I didn't think about that, but
Because James was telling me, if you go back to that picture, he said you went to all the way, I mean, it's pretty.
oh yeah,
You're gonna climb through the barriers or over them, you're not going around them.
there's no gaps for a bicycle or nothing.
So it's a good,
Nobody, I'm gonna pick up with a wheelbarrow going back.
and that's what we're trying to do. is
The
try to-
man that lives on the right-hand side, he's real particular. He's chased them off before. He told us he catches people dumping, and he's even gone out there with his gun, but he doesn't allow it, so.
So
as far as
hopefully
he
we
can
have,
see.
yeah, hopefully it curbs the people pulling up at the gate downtown, or at least gets the cops called. And now, I mean, now we can use more technology that the police department has to stick out there to maybe catch. If it's going on again, we're not trying to capture a half mile of road, we're trying to catch a section. one
The
little
reason
spot.
they're dumping there is real simple. There's no houses in that big, it's on a dam, and you could do anything there and nobody would see you. If you see car lots, you've got more than enough time to leave. So once now that's not a good area, I don't think I think it will basically eliminate that.
I don't foresee us having an issue.
You got.
Good place for a train station.
train station. There you go.
When you talk to some of the folks in there that have been there for a while, they'll tell you that there might be some residents from Twin Lakes, but there's people from outside of Twin Lakes that go in there and illegally dump. So, this is a good thing.
This has been a dumping ground for years,
Yeah.
not just recent.
Yeah.
Forever.
Mr. Jerry, could you forward that presentation to the council, please?
Yes, I will. Yes, yeah.
There's 3 or 4 dumpsters on the county side now, I noticed. There's 3 of them right in there, within 200 or 300 yards of where the county closed the road, there's dumpsters there now.
So people are already figuring out trash collection.
I had a question, on AEP, have you all contacted them about putting a light across the hallway from the entrance of Coleman? I know there's a pole right there. We had discussed it, before.
I didn't know about that one, but I can reach out now that we got this franchise and say, hey, we want to get a street light installed. They did tell me if we've got any street lights that are out and the light head is defective, they replace them for free with the LEDs. But they have to prove it's a defective fixture, not just a.
Remember we talked about it?
Yes, so, okay. We need to take care of our agreement.
Yeah.
So we're asking them to help us out. We need to do our part.
And that's what we finished tonight.
So we're doing our part.
So yes, so when I follow up with this, when I send them to sign one in a couple days, once you get our signatures, I'll say, oh yeah, by the way, we need to get a street light here. How do we get this accomplished? Because now we have our point of contact. The one we used to have was no longer there. And the only reason I found this guy is I went on their corporate page and found every email I could find to include their president and vice president, sent an email out and said, hey, who can I talk to? We're new and nobody's calling me this. And within 30 minutes, I had an email back, I'm your point of contact.
That's what you got. So this is good. We're doing our part, and then we're gonna get the support. We gotta do our part. So we did it tonight. It's gonna happen, and it's gonna be a continuation of what we're working on with CPS too. You'll see a big difference. Give us a few months, but it is gonna be nice driving into Lido coming in from that side. So it's gonna be good.
That's what dark and that's that.
We're gonna continue to light it up along the way.
Yeah, and by the way, this has been a complaint for 30-something years. This is nothing new. So we're taking care of stuff that has been open, so we will take care of that. So it'll be good. Anything else for Matt?
Matt and I are still working, I don't want y'all to think it's just disappeared, is the ball field lighting. We talked about that today. Don't think that we're not, we have a plan. We have a tentative plan, but we're not ready. I'll let y'all know next round.
There's a lot of moving parts that we keep identifying, right? So we're trying to juggle what's the best way and when's the right time to pull the trigger on this and on this.
And so y'all don't think we forgot about it. It's-
We're moving on it, just,
We still need to work on, exit, Coleman too. Yeah, the top we're working on it.
we're, something maybe back in the works on that again, yes.
Stand by. Stand by. We will, I will promise you this. Anything that has been open for a while, it's on our list, and we're working it really hard. And I can't emphasize the help from Matt with a lot of this discussions and planting the seeds and doing things that we need to do. So we're moving in the right direction. But the whole staff within itself, everybody in here has really been very helpful being able to do that. So kudos to everybody. I mean, all the way from animal control in the library and take care of stuff, we've been able to accomplish a lot of things. How long have you had that roof that has been leaking?
I don't know. They put it in 2008 when we added on, so.
So there you go. So we finally got it fixed. Now she doesn't need to worry about needs to worry about leaks. And so little by little, we're gonna tackle. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, and we just gotta kind of work things in based on our financial constraints and the timeliness and getting things together. So kudos to everybody for getting those things together. Okay, informational items. I know I have a few things I want to discuss. Anything anybody wants to share?
Yeah, I just want to say, the sign out front is great. It's got a lot of information on there. Richie's newsletter is great. Mayor, I want to thank you for putting a lot of stuff on your website, on your Facebook account. It really does help a lot of citizens I know that I see you speak to. They say it's great that you're putting stuff out there too. Thank you.
Oh, wait, I appreciate it. When I was looking at an opportunity to serve, the number one complaint was communication, or the lack of. So I promised everybody that we would do a better job of doing that. And we got great resources that we tie in, getting the information to Richie and a few other places. The billboard, I tell you, it's a great thing. I've heard great comments, people asking, hey, you know, why didn't we have this before? It's awesome driving and being able to get the information and being able to highlight different things that are going on. So this is awesome. And that's what it's all
I don't
about.
know if you know, but citizens, and you've probably seen this too, citizens share on Facebook what you put on Facebook. You know, Dolly Broccoli, Chris Broccoli, she always shares. Everything you put on there new, she shares it out, and I share it on with mine. So it's multiplying out.
Great.
So- Yeah. On a personal note, you know, my grandpa, I'll just say it real quick, but my grandpa always told me, take the time to make sure people feel important. And to me, if we can highlight something or we can pass information, they feel they're important. They're part of our community and we need to do our best to be able to pass them. Might not be able to catch everything, but if you can catch the majority of it,
Information's king.
it's important to do that. So, okay, informational items. First, I want to say thanks to the Lytle Elementary staff and the students for their donations to animal care and control. Santi, that was great on the newspaper, the photo.
That's all.
There was a little bit of
We'll be
everything.
posting another one prior tomorrow morning. I had a donation from the primary today that was given us.
Well, what did it have? A little bit of just,
Yeah, a bunch of wet, dry, kitten, puppy food, toys, little beds, bowls, and stuff like that.
that's awesome. I want to say, you know, kudos, we had another Bella's Pantry and Santi, you're doing a great job with that facility and just taking care of having everything prepped up. It was really good. We took care of a lot of people. Thank you for that. Thanks to City Hall, personnel, Public Works for getting things done, especially with all the decorations and everything. I know that we've been learning a lot as we go. So trying to figure out certain things to be able to do that. So we really appreciate that. You guys getting involved with that. I know a lot of folks have been doing a little bit more than is required on that. Update on TxDOT. So effective tomorrow, our only northbound exit ramp will be closed. It's supposed to be for a week. And the current one that is closed, our on-ramp northbound, now it looks like it's gonna be like on Friday. As long as the weather holds and we don't have anything else, we should have that. We have a meeting that is scheduled with them. I have a few ideas that I'm gonna toss with them and try to figure out to minimize as we go through the holidays too. So we can do that. But please get the word out and let folks know our only one exit off of 35 going northbound is gonna be shut for a whole week. So people need to go through either Natalia or go up to Lucky Road and turn around. So hopefully they just get off of Natalia and come up 132 and alleviate traffic going on there. Calendar items on there. Just a reminder, we have the Christmas holiday employees and council this on the 2nd of December. If you have not contacted, please go ahead and let Paula know. You should have gotten an email on that. We should be testing our sirens next week, Richie, and thank you, kudos for you guys actually getting. James, thank you for all the help being able to get that other siren up there so we can go ahead and take care of it. We had some damage with one of the windstorms, so we should be back up to speed with all of them. Lynette, thank you for setting up the audit. Really appreciate that. That's going to be a big thing. You've done a great job also with the bond rating, and this is just going to help us get ourselves in a better position for the next one too. We have a senior meal on the 8th, is that right? Paula? So please pass the word around for folks who want to participate, be able to be part of that. This weekend, we got Market Days at Southbound Pottery. So please encourage folks to shop local. I'll continue to highlight some of the businesses, but there's a lot of great shops here that have things to go put in stocking stuffers or be able to buy. And of course, on the 10th also is our hayride. So please pass the word around and let folks know if you need to volunteer. Let us know if you know anybody that has trailers, preferably the gooseneck. Okay, please get with Matt and James. We're trying to get that list together so we have good accountability. The more that we have, the more we can do in runs, the less runs that we have to do. So if we can get it down to three runs, that's ideal. That won't be too late, and we can get a lot of people through, especially doing with the goosenecks. And Paula, thank you for getting those step. That's going to be making it a lot easier to transport. Do we have, Paula, did we have any citizen nominations?
No, sir.
Okay, so we're gonna proceed. We'll go ahead and put something together and bring it in front of council, just like we said that we're gonna do. I'll take care of that. COVID, I'm gonna ask our health administrator, health person to actually, Dr. Neal, to actually come and talk to us. We're getting into a higher level of the year where you actually see a little bit more people getting sick. So see what he sees, see what he does. I will tell you on a personal note, hearing from people through social media and other places, okay, we do have a little bit of folks that are still getting sick with COVID, okay? It hasn't popped up to a point where it's a high indicator, but there's a few folks that's happening here locally. So we'll get Dr. Neal in here and get an update on that. Birthdays, we already took care of Richie. If you have a chance, on the 30th, so in 2 days, it's Charles' birthday. Everybody has his email, so please send him an email and wish him a happy birthday. It's on the 30th of November. And then we have Wayne on the 12th of December, so it'll be before our next meeting that we have. It'll be his birthday. Also ask, please check with others at this time of the year. This is the time, I hear it from the veteran side because of my other job, but I hear it from other people. Please keep an eye out, folks that are going through some financial problems. Right now, this is the time to kind of make sure that we're connecting the dots. There's a lot of different organizations and places that we can help out some of those folks. We are working with ACOG. ACOG has come back and requested that we only do it once a quarter instead of monthly. We're still going to have access to that. So they're shooting for January to be the first month. So I'm waiting for more. But we're going to have a centralized location for all these organizations, whether it's CPS with utility assistance or some of these other programs that are available to help out with food, winterization type programs. We're going to have once a quarter for them to come down. And then they want to adjust. If it's a high demand, they'll go to monthly. If they want to start on a quarterly basis, we'll probably do it for 3 quarters on there. So stay tuned on that. And please, the next few weeks, we got a lot of different events that are happening that the city is going to be involved with. Please, if you see something, hear something, please contact Matt, Paola, Lynette. Let's try to help each other out as best as we can. Like I said, some of these things we're learning for the first time, and we're going to take care of them. We get the word out, it goes a long way. Any last minute? Anything else that pops into your mind?
This Saturday, all day, at the high school, you'll see a lot of buses and activity over there. It's UIL Regional Band Competition. It's the first competition for inside the building band competition, not marching competition. So there'll just be a whole bunch of people, buses, cars, people coming and going throughout the day. In case you see something over there, that's what it is. And Richie, you may just let you guys know that there's big activity at school.
I appreciate that, because a lot of times we don't, we just, like the mayor said, if y'all got something you think maybe we need to know about, please don't assume that we know about it, because, especially stuff for the school. I don't have any officers that have any kids here in school, so there's other, just outside of town or other districts.
So the 3rd of December?
This Saturday, and it starts, we're gonna be there at 6:30. We're around the concession stand. It's all day long.
So
UIL concert and orchestra type competition.
That's good to know. Concert is Saturday.
It worked out really good. Awesome. Anything else? That's good to know. Definitely need to make sure we support that. All right. But if we don't have anything else, it's 9:44. Can I get a motion for us to
I'll
go
make that
ahead?
motion that we adjourn.
Okay, got a motion on the floor for us to go ahead and adjourn? Second, okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, well, thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity. We will see you on the 12th of December.